Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport, back here for another round of action. It is Watkins Glen, and it is time to see some fantastic, thrilling racing here in the Big Apple of New York. I'm your host, Mathew Duffin, joined in the commentary box, as always, by my partner in crime tonight. That is Dan Davis, who is currently occupied on the toilet and will be with me momentarily. He has sent me the message, but it's round 17 and 18, and what a big night of racing it is. This 452 points up for grabs. There's no Diz, meaning that this championship fight could go down to the two teammates of Tim and Max, but Max Mulder does have that qualifying ban tonight to his name. No Mirko Ricci or Dean Wysocki to serve their ban, so they'll have to carry theirs over till next week as Dan Davis joins me now. Dan, just saying that we're in the Big Apple. It's going to be a fantastic night's worth of racing here at Watkins Glen. It provided some great GT4 battles last night, and with no Diz, it could become a race between Tim and Max.
Yeah, championship fight looking like it's going towards the two teammates. Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I'm ever so slightly late. And yeah, looking forward to tonight's race. Watkins Glen is a fantastic circuit, a really challenging circuit. Very high speed as well, so we're looking to see the Mustangs and see how they get on this evening. But yeah, Matt, definitely looking like the two championship teammates are going to go at it. Tim Venting versus Max Mulder. Really looking like they're on their own on this fight, and we'll just see how this round goes in the next couple of circuits coming up.
Indeed we will, Dan. It was a fantastic display last night from the GT4. Some great racing, and Skunky High coming out the blocks with a clean sweep, a grand slam to his name, and it was absolutely fantastic to see. Do we expect more of the same tonight, Dan, in the GT3s?
I think with the reverse grid it should be definitely interesting. The weather is looking like there's rain lurking around. We don't know how or when it's gonna come down, but I do think it's just right now Max and Tim have got to play it like a championship now. They've really got to stay on the ball, do not get involved in any incidences, and I think the good thing about this circuit is you can overtake here. You need some big kahunas to do it, but you can do it. And I think your best bet is obviously currently, I believe we're watching Tim Venting, can't we? In turn one is probably your best bet, and obviously up towards the bus stop, and there's a few other parts of the circuit as well. But nonetheless, it's an interesting circuit, and a very much a circuit where anyone can win.
It is indeed. The championship standings, though, look a little like this, with 452 points up for grabs. It is Max Mulder who leads that way by 102.5 points, but we did not hear, like we say, it's swinging that way of Tim Venting versus Max Mulder. Tim's only 110 points behind him, but he's running out of time to do so. You can, though, gain 113 points in a race. That's if Max was to not finish in two and not score any, but we're not there just yet. Obviously, the drop scores for the Pro-Ams would be the end for next week for drop scores, but they get to go to Zolder due to the mishaps of Cota earlier in the season. John Goodey is P4 with Richie Michelle in P5. Justin Winters P6 from S2M Borough Bex. Brian Craig's just behind him with Smith P9. He's really come up through the ranks this second half of the season. Sam is rounding out the P10 mark. Now, I do believe that we have just got Kieran Argentine. Yes, we have. I believe we're just waiting on Fat Bloke as well. Obviously, the Jackal will be in late, as will Paul Williams. 25 drivers we are meant to have tonight, so we'll see what happens here. P11, though, is Paul Williams from Dennis Hansen. He's had a great end to the season. Kieran Argent, good week last week. He'd have hoped for a little bit more maybe in race 2. He comes up to 13th place. Diego Flores is 14th. He's not here tonight with Senna in P15. Darren Bell, P16 with Cranky Duckhead. Then Michael, Mark Tucker, DJ Phil, Naval Gomez, Mirko Ricci not here tonight. Then it is Dean, the Ferrari Dean. And then it is Fat Bloke himself, and then the first of the drivers who cannot win the championship. And he texted me early today, he's gutted he can't be here tonight, but he's unable to race last off. That is Graham, aka Sooty Apex, not able to race tonight. John Andrews out of the championship running. Then it is Lund, Jackal, Dean Wysocki, Andrew Taylor. Forgot his name, he's not been here that long. Monkey Boy, where are you? Romeo Nuclear Waste. And MB Pitts, who makes his return tonight. He's one of the drivers not yet in the lobby. He makes his return tonight in the championship. 852 points up for grabs, and really, again, one team, BSP, they've got their hands on this championship already. 258.5 points clear of the Greasy Bandits Racing, with Richie Corsa way behind them. Stage 2 Motorsport to P4 with Team Merlot P5, Team FBR P6, and the FSO Junior team hanging on in there, but with no Diego Flores tonight. You feel that they are probably going to drop off in this one. Retroactive Racing, they was a new team that formed halfway through the season. They are P8 forever forward. Are the leaders, I suppose, of all the independent teams. It's them from Cool Shop Racing with Vorta Racing, Greasy Bandits Racing Junior in that one. Now, we saw that there's 2 Ginettas last night that have taken the race wins. If we take Skunky High's performances out of this, the most dominant driver around this circuit, most successful driver, is that of the Overtake with one pole and 2 wins to his name. Now, I do believe, Dan, the only time this circuit featured on the calendar was back in the Project Cars 2 days, only once or twice, if I remember rightly. It's not a track that we've came to at SimPlay Motorsport very often.
No, I think we've only run it, like you said, a handful of times, probably like the one time, but yeah, it's surprising that we haven't run it more. I do actually I think this circuit does offer some great racing and some great opportunity, for sure, and I believe the ACC version is so good.
Yeah.
A couple of stats about the circuit as well. Known as the Glen, as its nickname, the circuit was FIA graded number 2. It's only got a capacity of 38,900 people, and its main championship here is obviously NASCAR, which is owned by them as well, but we have ISMA Sports Car Championship here. The 6 hours of Watkins Glen comes here. The WeatherTech 240 at Glen as well, that ran from 1984 to 2021. And like I said, NASCAR is pretty much the hot favourite. Formula One have been here once before, the United States Grand Prix back in 1961 to 1980. So it's had Formula One here as well. And I'm just trying to find the actual length of the circuit. I can't seem to find it. There we go. There's my stats. So currently it's mainly the surface asphalt and concrete, and the track is 3.4 miles long, 11 turns, and the lap record is actually held by Sebastian Bourdais in a Dallara DW12 2017 IndyCar around this circuit. So some interesting things to keep an eye on here is definitely the back straight, the inner loop, the outer loop, the what's that name? The chute? The chute. Good. My good old dyslexia kicking in there. Down at turn 6, turn 7 is the toe, the boot, the heel. Fabulous names. But they're the tricky end of the circuit, which is Sector 2. And I think tonight, Matt, the car that's going to be probably looking the strongest is the power cars here this evening. The likes of the Mustang, the BMW, and again, you can't look past the McLaren.
Well, we always kind of have a look, don't we, at the LFM BOP that we look to be using next season to kind of get a rough indication of what cars are going to be best. And according to that, the Audi and the Aston Martin V8 gain 16 kilograms of weight. The only other car that gains that much is the Mercedes, which gains 17 kilograms, as Fat Bloke now gets in his Mercedes. So they're the cars that gain the most weight. When you look at the other cars, the Ford Mustang actually gains 1 kilogram, but obviously ACC is still learning the Ford Mustang on where to bop it correctly. The Porsche loses 1 kilogram, the McLaren gains 7, the Lamborghini gains 9, the Honda loses 29, so the Honda not great round here for Cranky Duckhead, see what he can do tonight. Ferrari gains 2, BMW loses 3, so they're all kind of in the same ballpark. There we go. Mental Boston on you there. According to LFM, it's the Aston Martin, the Audi, and the Mercedes that look like they're going to be the cars. But again, Mercedes, bit of a powerful car, and the Aston Martin as well with a Mercedes engine in it. Going to just be interesting to see what these boys can do. Obviously, it is Romeo who has put in a stellar lap, half a second quicker than Tim Venting in this free practice session. That is huge straight out the gate.
In the Porsche as well, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on, and we seem to see that Romeo is very good at getting straight line advantage out of that Porsche as well, so he seems quite good with that. Nuclear Waste making his has he changed his livery, or has it just been a while since we've seen him?
I think he's only been able to do one race this year, so
well, it's nice to see him back on circuit nonetheless.
It's down as a reserve, and I know he works away a lot, so he wants to race, but obviously it's finding that time with work to be able to. So like we say, it is great to have him. We had him back at round 3, so that was Brands Hatch we last saw the Nuclear Waste. So like I say, great to have him back, and great to have a stacked grid as well.
Yeah, definitely so. It is. It's nice to see 22 cars here. Hopefully, Argent in the chat saying, "See what happens." Wasn't going to be home in time an hour ago, so might not be prepped and ready for this one, maybe. But a sprint race ahead of ourselves. This first off. And nonetheless, it's going to be an exciting one. Ferrari and Porsche on the front row, and Romeo with that pace ahead as well. He's got to look favourite for this one.
You'd think he'd be looking the favourite for this. You know, it'd be hard to look against Romeo, wouldn't it, in this one, to not look the favourite after that practice pace. But we don't know if that was a short run fuel or what, so it's just going to be about wait and see what happens. Obviously, the Jacqueline Paul Williams will be in for race 2. Paul Williams hopes to be here for race 2. Obviously, he's sorting out wedding dresses and things. I'm not sure on who the third driver is. MB Pitts, who's not currently with us. And Brian Craig, Dan, looks like he's missed the start, as well as DJ Phil and Naval Gomez. So 3 drivers have missed the start.
Yeah, and one powerful car as well. No Gomez, a lot of the cars at the front. Brian Craig, a little bit unlucky there to not get going there, as all the cars get themselves out and ready to go racing here. And I'm really looking to the as a fat bloke I don't think has moved. Where is fat bloke? There he is. He's finally got going. He didn't move for a minute, so a fat bloke has managed to get himself going. But yeah, this should be an interesting one, and we'll see what happens tonight with this circuit. It's going to be interesting, especially between turn 2 and 3 coming up this hill.
Yeah, going to be very interesting to see this uphill section, as that was, I think, John Andrews, who's just knocked one of the Pirelli advertising boards out of the way. But it is going to be an interesting race tonight for sure, and it's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on who does what throughout the grid order tonight then. So as you can see, the grid order will be as follows: Nuclear Waste on pole from Romeo, with then John Andrews P3, Fat Bloke P4 from Dean P5. It was meant to be Gomez P6. That'll now be DJ Phil from then Mark. In fact, no, that won't even be DJ Phil. That'll then be Mark Tucker from Cranky Duckhead, Darren Bell from Senna, Kieran Argent, Dennis Hanson, Sam, Robert Smith. Then it'll be Borough Becks, Justin Winter, Richie Michelle, John Gooday, Tim Venting, and Max Mulder bringing up the rear. Then, as you see, the 3 drivers. The bonus for the 3 drivers is they no longer go a lap down and therefore stay on that lead lap coming to the start of this race.
Yeah, that's ideal. It's in the previous ones we had you go a lap down, and that was just torture for people. Reminder as well, guys, if you haven't done so, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss any of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport. And you really don't want to miss the action, because some of the races have been spectacular this season, and we've got 3 circuits still yet to go, some of the most dramatic circuits yet to come, of Valencia, final race of the season, then Zolder just before it, and next one we head to is Zandvoort, the Dutch home for Tim Venting and Max Mulder. While you're also there, scroll down into the description below and have a look at our fantastic sponsors: Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, and printed clothing, and much more, and SimPlay merchandise. Head over to their Facebook page. And there's also Audio Sport, manufacturers of Volkswagen, Transporter T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk and on their Facebook page as well. If you do want to sponsor the channel, then please feel free to get involved into the Discord, which leads me nicely on to, if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, head over to the Sim Grid and also join our Discord and get yourself set up with the hot stints. We won't be taking drivers on for the last GT3 season, as it's getting to the tail end of the championship, but you can be in and prepared, ready for our fun events after the season is done. And I think that's pretty much everything that I have to do and get paid by. I'm joking.
Yeah,
I don't get paid.
Yeah, none of us get paid. It's all free. Everything we have to do. And all we have to do and all we have to get through, and that is job done. Thank you, Dan. And as we get ready for the start of this race, one thing we didn't mention, Dan, which will be coming up pretty quickly in this one, will be that pit lane. Now, you have to be inside the yellow line. The drivers have all been warned by Mike Matthews, Peaceful Explosion, our admin member, who did a video on it. So the drivers have seen a video. You have got to be under that yellow line that starts before the last corner. Pretty much as Nuclear Waste has just took it, actually, so it's brilliant to see. You've got to be under it. You cannot cut across it. If it is caught on stream by myself, it doesn't matter what Dan sees, if it is caught on stream by myself or it is caught by another driver and it is reported, you are pretty much looking at a slam dunk penalty. But enough about this cutting the track. It is green and go here for round 17. It is a drive-through penalty for Mark Tucker, so the Team Merlo cars have already had a shocker as they all come down to turn one. Romeo's already got himself in the lead. John Andrews turns in and hits the inside of Nuke Waste. Now there's a bit more contact. Fat Bloke back after a bit of a sabbatical due to work, and there's absolute chaos, Dan. We've not even made the hill, and Romeo has already got a great lead in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars off. There's cars everywhere. I don't even know where to look. There's Sam, there's Nuclear Waste, there's Dean, there's the Cranky Duckhead, John Andrews, DJ Phil. There's so many cars involved, and yes, Romeo gets the start he needed, and off he goes with Fat Bloke now in second. He's got a little bit of damage to the side of his car, and it's then Darren Bell and I think Max Mulder, out of all the championship contenders, was the one that managed to become most unscathed out of that, and yes he is. He's got Justin Winter with him as well, so Max Mulder getting a lucky save there as Fat Bloke's had a moment, and Darren Bell's now attacking him. And his car looks pretty clean, does Max Mulder's in. Yeah, Fat Bloke's had a moment. Darren Bell now attacking the rear of Fat Bloke's Mercedes. Hanson's just had a poor start here. Cranky Duckhead in the chat. I don't know if that is actually Cranky Duckhead. It might be, because he sat in the pits, as is Senna. So them two got to get going. DJ Phil, by the way, came out of the pits after missing the start. He's got a stop-go penalty. 4-minute repair for Cranky Duckhead. But it's Romeo with a great lead from Fat Bloke, who's got Darren Bell with him. Borough Bex is coming under. He's trying to put Robert Smith under pressure, but he's coming under pressure himself from Richie Michelle. Max Mulder then not looking overly strong at the minute. He's got Justin Winter on the back of him as Max has just had a big moment, and Justin Winter will sail through. Max manages to keep it out of the wall. John Gooday's also looking up the inside of Mark Tucker, who's got himself that drive-through penalty. John Gooday makes the move stick. That's the move done there. Now we've got Dean and Naval Gomez. Pretty much a good thing for Naval Gomez, and he started from that pit lane really. Is look at the Mustang behind him with Kieran Argent, bonnet open and everything, and they've got to wait till the next lap for the pit stop, unless you're probably the 159 of Nuke Waste, who was absolutely battered in that. He'll probably be able to get into the pit lane as the pit window opens. I'm not sure exactly when the pit window is open, but maybe Sam can sneak in just at the right time. If he just rolls to the line. I'm watching Sam now. He's literally just coasting it in, waiting for that 10 seconds, and he will get that pit stop done, which is quite clever, and it opens now. So Sam comes in and gets that done and dusted, but at the minute, Fat Bloke is the cork in the bowl at the minute. He's holding everyone up in second, and when thinking the Mercedes is going to be strong, he's holding the two McLarens and the BMW of Robert Smith, who's had a fantastic start to this race. But Max Mulder has got his championship contender and teammate right behind him. And they said last week, didn't they, Dan, that the gloves are off. It is all about the racing here, not about the team game in this one. So they're doing it. Romeo's doing the business for the Porsche. Porsche had a couple of wins recently as Dennis Hansen's going to try and look up the inside as they come through the toe. Down the boot they go on Darren Bell, but I don't think he managed to get alongside. No, he now goes to the outside as they come down towards the heel, but he's not alongside. Robert Smith in this one as well. Now, when have Porsche won a GT3 race this season? No, they have not. They've only won one race in GT4, so it's been a while since we've seen a Porsche on the top step of the podium. But at the minute, you have to say Romeo is in that prime position, and Bell's now attacking the back of Fat Bloke. Hansen ran a little wide, so Smith's attacking the back of him in the background. Smith up the inside of Hansen. Not quite. Hansen manages hanging around the outside line. And now for Smith as well. Oh, carnage! Carnage in the background once again. Robert Smith, and Tim's been caught up in that, as did Max Mulder. Think Max carries on his way. Yes, he does. Richie Michelle also caught up in that. There is absolute chaos here at Watkins Glen. Robert Smith can't turn his car, and the rear wing is completely crooked. What on earth are these Pro-Am boys doing? This is chaos.
Robert Smith is returned to the pit stop.
Yeah, that car is majorly damaged. Meanwhile, Darren Bell has gained advantage of all of that, as is Dennis Hansen, who's now passing Fat Bloke around the outside. Absolute chaos in the Pro-Am boys here. And Dennis Hansen trying to outdrag the Mercedes as they go to the inner loop, and he gets the job done, but he goes straight over the curb, bouncing over the grass, and somehow still manages to stay in front. But major damage for a lot of cars, including the championship contender Tim Bentinck. A lot of tickets, I think, coming our way. Yeah, I reckon the Pro-Am stewards, myself and Mike, are going to be very, very busy tonight and over this Corsa this week. Dennis Hansen up the inside then. What a shame we didn't have Dennis here from the start of the season. He'd have been great to have. Senna saying that crashed out that taking out turn one.
ticket's going to have to go in, buddy. John Gooday has done his pit stop. So has Sam and Nuclear Waste. And all of a sudden for Sam, who is where? He's coming down towards toe. There's a yellow flag. That is car 64 that's a yellow flag. That is Darren Bell, who has had a moment. We can't see this on camera. Let's go on the 333. Can that give us an indication? I don't quite know where Darren Bell is here. The yellow flag is right where the camera is, but we can't see a thing of Darren Bell. He's going now. Is he? Yellow flag again?
Yeah, he has major damage. You can't turn.
So he's just had a big moment then, because he was fine a moment ago. So he's had big damage. So it's Romeo from Dennis Hansen. I believe Fat Bloke's third. He's going to box it now. Max Mulder's somehow now P4 net when he crosses the line after this. Then it's Justin Winter who's coming into the pits. He's struggling to turn. Brian Craig's not boxing. Dean, then Naval Gomez, John Andrews. I tell you what, John Gooday could be sat in the box seat for a podium, yet he was nowhere really because of that midfield start.
Yeah, him and oh my God, Dean and Gomez have come together majorly into turn one. Gomez just turning into Dean as they went into turn one, and they both ended up in the wall, and that's benefited a few of the other cars behind them. And John Gooday, yeah, possibly looking good for and he's he nearly made contact with the cranky duckhead then a second ago. But honestly, Matt, I don't know where to look.
It's been carnage, hasn't it?
Dennis Hansen's got damage.
So he's lost out to Max Mulder as well. Oh, that is big damage. That is huge. So Max Mulder has somehow managed to avoid all of this chaos at the start of this race and is in second place. Romeo is cruising from Max Mulder, from Brian Craig, who started, Dan, from the pit lane, let's not forget. He's running P3 in this race.
He is indeed. Maybe his time for the pit lane was probably the best option. He's not involved in any of the incidences or crashes, and he's pulled away. Dennis Hansen, meanwhile, was just trying to survive. Gomez is trying to survive. Dean is now be up into fifth place as he passes Gomez, and he'll soon pass Dennis Hansen.
Oh, now John Andrews has got big damage. He's now got the boot lifted. Oh, well, I'm surprised he's not pitted. That's a shocker there for John. He's got to get that back to the pits. Mark Tucker comes round. Justin Winter, I believe, is now the lead car from the pits. Is he? No, he's not. No, Fat Bloke is. Apologies.
Arjun's got more damage. He's repaired it, and he's got more damage to his car. They're a lap down. Tim Bentinck and Arjun are a lap down to Max Mulder at the minute. So Gomez is absolutely cruising out front, and he's just got to keep it facing the right way.
Yeah, Romeo's just too...
Romeo.
I don't know where to look. Like you say, you don't really know where to look. You don't really know what to do. And
there's no real fights. It's just people trying to survive. Yeah. Meanwhile, the only fight is Tim Bentinck and Arjun.
John Gooday has got himself... Has he got himself past Fat Bloke? Yes, he has. John Gooday's got himself past Fat Bloke, so not sure where he's done that. Fat Bloke looks like he's got a decent car. Doesn't look pretty damaged. That one's done. So Tim Bentinck versus Argent. The only real battle. Argent with that damage has got Tim on the back of him. And Tim's now coming through the chicane, the inner loop, should I say, in towards the outer loop.
Sounds like a car off in front of him as well. Yeah, it did sound like a car off. It was car number 3. It's Max Mulder who's had a moment. He's somehow not hit the wall or anything, but Max Mulder's dropped it on his own, and Tim, with that better Ferrari, just drives past the outside of Kieran Argent, and that is that job done for Tim Bentinck. What a strange race. Kieran Argent's going to try and fight back on Tim here, though. Tim just hits a bit of a bobble on the curb, and that's going to unsettle his car down towards the toe, but Argent's very wide on the marbles, and Tim should have that one comfortably done now. But for Max Mulder, he's dropped. But where's Brian Craig? Brian Craig's now right behind him. Oh, Max is really loose.
Max is struggling.
Max is incredibly loose.
But how has he not got damage? Wow.
I don't know. He's probably flat spotted those tyres badly, and he needs to pit now and probably change them. Romeo is now into the pits, and he's probably thinking, what on earth is going on right now?
And look at the gaggle of cars that are still in the pit lane here. Dennis Hansen's in, Naval Gomez in, John Andrews is in, Darren Bell is still there, Cranky Duckhead's in, Robert Smith is in.
Just realised John Gooday and Justin Winter have both jumped Fat Bloke in the pits, and he was sat in second.
Yep. So John Gooday has put himself, although he looks like he's got a little bit of front end damage, not sure if he's clipped anything.
Max is pitting
on his way around. Where is John Gooday and Justin Winter? John is now coming towards the toe, but John's got a bit of front end damage, so the top 3 in. And we're possibly watching your net 4th and 5th place here. It is a destruction derby, says Richard Beasley in the chat. And John's probably not going to be able to believe his luck. Neither is Justin Winter. This is what Greasy Bandits needed, Dad, in this Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, it is indeed. And They just need to work together and work their way forward. Justin Winter always seems to have the raw speed, but John Goudet seems to have the consistency. They've just got to work their way through the order as Max and Brian. Romeo's only now gone green, so it could be still close between John Goudet and Justin Winter, because Romeo was like 28 seconds ahead of Max.
Yeah,
so it's a long stop, and here comes John Goudet in the final sector.
Romeo is gone, Max still stationary, Brian Craig still stationary. Where is John Goudet? Into the final corner. Max and Brian still not gone green. Justin Winter follows through. That switch on, and Justin's getting there. Winter, they're both clipping that outside wall as Max now goes green. Is he going to be off? He's got a stop go. Max has got a stop go, because why not? Let's chuck a stop go into the mix for the championship leader and mix things up a little bit. I can't believe what we are witnessing here, Dan.
This is probably the most weird and randomest race I've
and Brian Craig's just got a drive through. Brian Craig's just got a drive through for speeding into the pit lane. I can't keep up. John Andrews still in the pits. Darren Bell out the pits. He needs to repit, as does Robert Smith, to complete the mandatory pit stops.
Romeo's in the middle of chaos right now.
Oh my days! Look at this.
Everywhere.
Oh my days! Look at this. It looks like a Monza qualifying in the Formula 1 when you're coming into the last sector to set your final flying lap, doesn't it? Formula 3 at Spa.
These all racing?
Are these all racing?
I don't know.
Well, that's Romeo is about to lap Dean. Romeo's about to pass Dean for position.
Yeah.
So Dean and Tucker there, that's for position. Behind, I believe that is Richie Michelle, Hansen and Cranky Duckhead. Now I'm trying to find them all on the leaderboard. Richie Michelle 13th, Hansen is 14th, so they're racing. Cranky Duckhead's a lap down, so I think it was Cranky trying to get out of the way of two cars.
I'm not sure why Richie Michelle was trying to flash Dean out of the way. He's the lead car, but hey-ho, as Richie Michelle now works his way through the order, and Romeo has taken the lead back, but John Goudet just has to sit and follow Max Mulder now, because he's in a net second right now.
He is in a net second. Max
has
got to come in.
This is going to massively change the championship. John's
honestly
looking strong here.
Well, greasy bandits for that constructors. 200 and some odd points behind. They're going to have a massive haul over Max Mulder. And like you say, John and Justin in this championship with Richie Michelle, no Diz, having a shocker. They're both going to score big in this race. Max Mulder stays out. He's got 2 laps to do his stop-go penalty.
Yeah, will Brian Craig come straight in? Yes, he is. Brian Craig is going to get his stop done and his drive-through done and dusted. Try not to speed again, but Mark Tucker and Dean in. A lot of drivers who have never really got decent points are on track for one. Fat Bloke is returning. He's back into the top 7 again.
Yeah, and he's on for potentially, depending on what happens with John and
Tim
Justin
Benting has managed to get himself back into 9th.
And Max has still got a stop-go penalty. Is he a lap down to Max? No, he's not. No. Max is only just coming onto the outer loop, and Tim Benting's just coming across the start line. Oh, John Andrews!
Brian Craig is now exited pit lane as Tim Benting comes to turn 1. So, yeah, Tucker is also out as well, and they're not really going to phase Tim Benting too much. Actually, I say that, and Brian Craig's up the inside, but Tim manages to get, So, yeah. Honestly, I have no idea what the hell is going on in this race.
Absolutely bonkers at the minute. Max Mulder's coming down the boot.
Sorry, the 2 Murloc cars are going at it. The 2, Brian Craig and Tucker. Tucker, I think, he's behind at the minute, and they're both fighting it out, and they're trying to score some decent points, so they're going to gain some points here. But Tim Benting, after a crazy start to this race, has managed to work his way up into 6th place, and that's probably about as far as he goes, because
I think he's net 5th.
Pretty much in the final sector.
I think he's net 5th because of Max Mulder's stop-go penalty. Will Max Mulder come in for it now? He's staying to the inside line, so that would indicate that he is going to stay out on coming to the pit lane, and Max Mulder is going to come in for that stop-go. So there go Goudet and Winter. Fat Bloke's coming up to the penultimate corner. That's going to put him in a net 4th. Tim's 25 seconds behind Fat Bloke. So 25 seconds behind him. That'll be touch and go. I reckon he should just have Max Mulder done, as will Brian Craig and Tucker. I was going to say I think Max might come out round Argent, but Argent's Mustang is on the grass.
Whoops.
And that is heavily damaged. That is heavily damaged now the camera's panned around. So Argent's not having the race. So how's the Mustang going to do? It's hard to tell when it's been absolute chaos, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's... I'm not sure exactly what's happened in this race. It's just chaos.
Darren Bell's in, who was second at one stage. He's in for his pit stop. We're currently watching the fight between Richie Michel and Dennis Hansen. Hansen not quite close enough at the moment. They've both jumped Dean, so Dean's had a long pit stop in there, and I assume Kieran surely is going to bring that one back into the pits. Yes, he is, trundling around, so gives losers out on some points for himself, and will have to go again in qualifying. There is rain meant to be around. Right, Max Mulder's away, so Tim's gone through, Brian's gone through, Mort's gone through, Sam went through, but Rebecca's didn't. So Max is behind Sam. Max is P9.
Yeah, Max's race has really looked like it was in his hands. He was going to be scoring the decent points over his teammate, and now he's losing out to Tim. So just shows how much chaos has happened here, because a lot of the drivers who earlier made decent moves and gained up a lot have dropped back again. So
all happened at turn 1, it all happened at the final corner. There's been incidents elsewhere that we've not been able to catch fully on screen. Justin Winter's into the final wall again. This race has had it all, by the action. Meatball will have a speeding penalty also, says Kieran Argent. That's a shame for Kieran, who's got a bit of testing. Now, the last time Kieran tested, it rained. There is rain around for tonight. The randomness is set to 4, so the chance of rain is real, and let's throw a bit of rain into the mix of a race that's had carnage already. Why not, eh?
Yeah, it'd be absolute chaos right now. But
I'll tell you, you've got to tip your hat to, Dan, at the minute. Romeo got in the lead, missed all the carnage. Yes, he's had to lap a few cars, and we saw earlier it looked a bit dodgy and sceptical for him. He's kept his nose clean. He's kept his nose clean. I mean, he's got on with it.
For me, it's the two greasy bandit boys.
Massively as well, yeah.
I mean, Romeo had it pretty basic and simple, just go out and lead the race and have it under the bag. But you know, it's not been easy for them to get through the carnage. But John Goudet and Justin Winter have managed to negotiate their way through. Fat Bloke as well, another one to top your hat to. He's worked his way through the order. Yep. So, and then it's just Tim Ventink is then the best of the rest of the bat runners, who's scoring the most points.
We've got Darren Bell on the back of Cranky Duckhead here. This for position. We just saw Naval Gomez in front of Dean. Just went to change onto that one, and that had already been swapped around. Waiting for the camera to pan around. Cranky Duckhead runs a little wide. That should give Darren Bell the inside line for the corner. There is John Gooday and Justin Winter in the background. And there's the stop-go penalty Kieran Argent was on about. So he's going to have to come straight back round and straight back into the pits. Yeah, and what is he? He's 2 laps down. Senna's 3. That could put him behind Senna.
Yeah. All that work, and it's all unfolded, and even more damage. So you might as well just use this as a test session, repair the car completely, and just see how it feels in the dry, just in case it is fully dry. But there's a quite close fight between Dennis Hansen and Richie Michel. They're just under a second, and been ebbing and flowing between that half a second and a second. So Dennis Hansen seems to catch him in one sector, and then Richie Michel manages to pull away. But right now, it is all looking good for Romeo, who's probably going to start his final lap at the end of this one.
So at the minute, this will give Porsche its 62nd win. It'll give Aston Martin its 40th podium. It'll also give Porsche its 256th podium. Puts Porsche 13 podiums behind that of Mercedes, and just pulls it away from McLaren a little bit, because McLaren's got closer. And on a night where McLaren could have got one step closer to 250 podiums, you know, the dominant car of the season, the first one's P6. It's not going to get a podium in this first race. Absolutely bonkers here at Watkins Glen. But we are watching that Richie Michel, Dennis Hansen battle. That one, like you say, is ebbing and flowing between the pair of them. Senna is 3 laps down, as is Darren Bell, it says, as is Cranky Duckhead. Now, Kieran Argent's got a stop-go penalty to do. Senna's just unlapped himself from Argent, so all right, maybe he's not going to probably get past Argent. But that one was interesting to keep our eyes on, but Senna will not get past him. Lead is on the final lap. Argent's got no choice but to do it now, and that's coming to the pit lane, which he is doing.
Yeah, it's just been, like I said, we haven't really get to see the full might of the Mustang around here, and I don't really think the guys have had a real opportunity to get a decent run in them, as the weather conditions have been very changeable. John Goudet's actually managed to pull away a decent gap from Justin Winter.
Justin's got damage.
Probably too many hits to the outside wall of the final corner.
That
keeps clobbering it.
Where's Fat Look? 14 seconds, one lap. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Luckily for Justin Winter, he won't have to worry about that bonnet, because it's technically the boot. So the engine obviously being in the rear of the Porsche.
Fair point. Fair point. He's shopping up everywhere. Missy's not
There's a
happy
car
with that.
going very wide. That was nuclear waste in the background going wide. He's got major damage to his car again. And, yeah, it's just been a chaotic race here.
You just feel that the stewards are going to be quite busy in this one this week. It's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. But yeah, nuclear waste with a lot of damage. Dennis Hansen back under a second. And your race leaders coming through the heel now. Romeo to take this race win and to take the fastest lap with it as well. And well, thoroughly deserved. Easy when you can keep your nose clean. What's his best finish this season? 11th place is his best finish this season. Rocks up on a reverse grid, and that's what these reverse grids are, Dan. They give drivers like Romeo that opportunity, who maybe wouldn't win a race outright, in the full feature with a qualifying, to maybe grab that win. And well, you can't knock him. The Porsche's going around the final corner. It is going to be a Porsche win here in dominant style of 33 seconds. Romeo takes the race win in great style, and it's John Gooday who is a long way behind.
He is a long way behind, but nonetheless, it's a second place while his championship rivals have falter and his constructors have falter. So fantastic job from John Gooday and also from Justin Winter, who've managed to claw some decent points out of this.
Yeah, indeed.
Romeo's that far ahead, he's already gone back to the pits.
Brilliant. Well, John Gooday's just rounding the final corner. Looks like he's waiting for his teammate to come to gain back up to him to get across the line and do the old celebration.
Justin's car looks suddenly repaired.
It does look suddenly repaired. Yes. I wonder if that's because he had a bit of lag. So that's them two done. Fat Bloke's now coming around the final corner. Great to see Fat Bloke back with a P4 as well to top it off. That'll be fantastic for him. He will absolutely take that one. Tim Venting, well, I don't really know what to say. Looked down and out earlier when he had a huge load of damage, when he was a lap down to Max Mulder. He's going to come across for a P5 and in great style for a P5 as well. Good job from Tim Venting. Brian Craig a little further back for P6. Good points for Team Merlot. A 6th and a 7th. That's huge for them too as well. Before Sam in the FBR car. There's another one. Sam in Team FBR. 4th and 8th. Great points for them too. Max Mulder's going to come across only for a P9, your championship leader. Borough Bex is then going to be P10 in what has been just the most bonkers race I think we've ever commentated on here at SimPlay Motorsport.
Yeah, indeed. It's been absolutely chaos, and I think a lot of these guys will be happy to get the sprint race out of the way, but nonetheless, it was Romeo who absolutely dominated that one.
It was indeed. Kieran Argent comes to the line to take the checkered flag and to finish that race. What an absolutely bonkers race. But we are going to be right back in a few moments' time with the second qualifying of the afternoon. And if you thought 20 minutes was carnage, we've got an hour's race, so don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport, and yes, we said there was a chance of a shower. Well, it has absolutely tipped it down from the end of free practice 2 right through till now. It has absolutely poured. The heavens have opened and we have got some bad rain. Max Mulder is on a qualifying ban, so he will have to stay stationary in the pit. The 118 of Romeo, though, is the first car out there, but the championship standings look a little like this. Max Mulder's lead is cut to 97 points from Tim Ventink now as John Gooday moves himself back up into third. He's 117.5 off the back of Max. Diz is P4 with Richie Michelle P5. Justin Winter P6 from Brian Craig in 7th. This might be Diz's drop score. That'll obviously be worked out at the end of the evening. Justin Winter is P6 with Brian Craig P7. Svenborough Bex is P8 with Robert Smith P9. Sam in that top 10. Paul Williams is P11 from Dennis Hansen, who is 12th. Kieran Argent P13. He's dropped down a place 2 Hansen after that one. Senna is P14 from Mark Tucker, up to 15th after a good first race. Darren Bell P16, Diego Flores from Cranky Duckhead, Fat Bloke, DJ Phil, Naval Gomez, Dean, Michael, Mirko Ritchie, John Andrews, Graham Lund, Romeo up to P20. I can't remember because we had a few dropouts, so we're not counting them. But Romeo he's climbed the order. He's climbed ahead of Jackal and Dean Wysocki and Andrew Taylor in this one. Luke Quake's on 34 points and MB Pitch still yet to get his season off and running. Paul Williams is not going to be able to join us, sadly. Not got back in time from Cardiff. He has messaged me, and just MB Pit's missing. But Dan, the rain has came, set to go to showers in the next couple of moments, but the track is very, very wet, so you do feel that when it goes down showers, it will improve, but very slowly, so track times could still come down towards the end of this session. Is it about getting out there at the end?
I would believe so. It's just doing laps now. It's getting out on circuit. We saw in the GT4s lap times were improving towards the end of the session. So it's just all about getting at least a banker on the board and just doing lap after lap after lap as a lot of cars exit pit lane and just getting away of some of the guys on a hot lap at the minute. But yeah, it's just get out on track and just fuel the car up is what I tend to do in these wet conditions. Fuel the car up. Fuel isn't really going to make any massive difference, but fuel it up and do as many laps as you can, because every lap you do, you'll find more grip and more confidence.
Yeah, indeed you will. It got that dry last night. Started to get that dry last night. I was on the slicks and only a 10th off my personal best in qualifying. It was gripping up nicely. I don't think we're going to be there for the pro drivers tonight, but it is going to showers. And you'll see that change in the next couple of minutes where we start to get the showers in. So with that rain just easing off slightly, this track may improve, especially with 22 cars out there on the circuit. The only one who's not out there is obviously Max Mulder, who cannot qualify in this session. This will then be his ban done, and he'll be back next week to be able to do everything, obviously bar any penalties that possibly could come his way. At the moment, I didn't see anything that was going to get Max Mulder in the steward's room, unless he's a witness to the carnage that went off.
You might be considering starting from pit lane for this one.
Yeah, that's a genuine possibility, though, isn't it? Really, to miss the mayhem.
Let's be honest. A lot of drivers that did start from pit lane managed to get out of all the carnage and chaos. So we'll see what happens on this one. But Romeo is going to be the first one, I think, to complete a lap time. He's into the final corner now. He's got Robert Smith, I think, also on a lap time as well as they head up towards. Everyone's pretty close to one another. There's no one in the back end of the circuit, but Romeo sets the pace. Robert Smith goes even faster, as I see in the background. Justin Winters smashing into the wall again. Dennis Hansen goes even quicker as well. And Justin Winters, even though he smacked the wall, he still goes into second place. So lap times are coming in thick and fast. I'm on to Svenborough Bex, who exits the final corner.
Yeah, Svenborough Bex, that is then Brian Craig just behind him, who's going to come round to complete a lap time. Let's go and try and pick up Cranky Duckhead. He's just exited the final corner down to the start line. He comes now to pick up a lap time, crosses that line, goes into P8. The Jackal as well is about to come across the line. Where will this put the Jackal? As Romeo now is down to 9th place. You can just already see, Dan, that Romeo, not a bad first lap, but he's 3.9 seconds off the pace already. That proving that track development with that rain, look, the rain clouds have changed on the weather. It's now gone to a bit lighter than what it was a moment ago. We had the 2 lots of raindrops, now it's just the 1. So that track will improve, that water will clear a little bit, and we're seeing faster times and Romeo being pumped in at the moment.
Yeah, definitely so. And like I said, just fuel the car right up. And as you can see, in 10 minutes time, which is just at the end of the session, there is going to be less rain, well, just no rain at all. And it's changing. It's getting damper, then gets wetter, and then it just dries out a little bit. The rain is very inconsistent, as Tim Venting goes 2 seconds faster than anybody else at this stage. But we still yet to see some best lap times yet, as people just testing the limits around here.
Testing. Go on.
Romeo is on a lap, but I think it's the 64 of Darren Bell next to complete a lap time.
Testing the waters, and obviously don't forget then the wets are going to take a little longer to come up to pressure and not necessarily temperature. I noticed the wet tyres on the GT4s yesterday getting very warm around here in the wet conditions, whereas for these guys today this is going to be an interesting one. Romeo to the line, any improvement? He does look top of the timing screens by then 7/10 of a second. What about Robert Smith? He moves up the order a little bit as well. Let's go down to the 113. That is Naval Gomez. Didn't get a first lap in, now looking for that second run to get onto the board. Who's the cars in the background behind him? We'll jump on board Sam. He's going to come across the line as Gomez goes into P2. Sam now moves himself up into P4. Let's try and find Brian Craig as Tim Venting goes pole once again by 85 thousandths of a second. Brian Craig to the line. He moves up to 7th place. What can Dean do from back here? We'll pick up the 53 of DJ Phil, who's the next one on a valid lap. Dean still yet to complete a valid time, but already, Dan, you're just seeing them improvements, whether that's the tyres coming up to temperature and to pressure a little bit more, or whether that's the fact that we are just clearing a bit more of that water. It's going to be a combination of both. The drivers now have got to be careful that they don't overheat them tyres, because that's when really the lap times are going to start to, if the tyres balloon and overheat, that's when your lap times are going to sort of be ruined. You want to go back to the pits, come back out, probably a fresh set of boots depending on how many you've got, because you're only allowed 10 sets for the season.
Yeah, you really got to nurse the tyres really in this stint. I think really we're not really going to see really dry conditions. We're going to possibly see damp, which might see a little bit more pace. But I think it's all about how the track evolves from here, and whoever is able to capitalise on it the most. Darren Bell, once again, the next car to come on a fast lap, and he's got Romeo right behind him, he's having a fantastic run here at Watkins Glen. The Porsche, really we said. He seems to get this Porsche very fast in a straight line. We always say the Porsche struggles in a straight line, but Romeo seems to have it pretty dialed, to be fair.
Looks like Romeo has bailed on this lap. He looks like he's going to go for another run in a moment. Dennis Hansen will then be the next one to cross the line before the 28 of. That'll be Senna to come across the line. Here comes Dennis Hansen. Is there any improvement for Dennis? Yep, moves up the order quite significantly, all the way up to P5. Senna moves up into P8. What about the Ford of Naval Gomez? That now goes provisional pole. So could that be the first pole for the Ford Mustang? Is the conditions going to improve? Nuclear Waste returns to the pit. What about the 68 to Borough Becks?
It's gone damp.
Yeah, so the track is improving. This is it now. This is where the tyres are going to start to get really red and overheating. But the track is improving. S2M goes up into 9th place. What about John Gooday? Stick to that dry line. That's where you want to be. John Gooday now goes into into 2nd place. And then I believe it's the 999 of the Jackal coming through. Kieran Argent still not got a valid lap time. The only one without a valid lap time, the Jackal, stays 16th place. And a lot of drivers coming into the pits. Is that now, Dan, because them tyres just started to maybe balloon, get a little too hot?
Possibly so. They need to get them tyres calmed down. And Darren Bell, once again, the next car on a lap. Romeo, once again, backed off by the looks of things on the back of Darren Bell, but looking like he's on a lap time now. But yeah, it's the tyres will start to balloon as the track dries out a bit more. I think this is going to be the best conditions we're going to get, and we'll see what Romeo can do. He seems like he's just missing out on the best conditions. Tim Benting has gone back to 3rd, but John Gooday with 2nd place ahead of his championship contenders, which is what he needs to do. I mean, a big hauls of points back in that first race. He always seems to go pretty well at American circuits.
He always does, and Naval Gomez looking to get Ford Mustang's first pole position. Darren Bell kind of just getting in the way of Romeo a little bit here. And it's going to be interesting. That is going to be an invalid lap time, that for Darren Bell. So down in 20th place, and that's going to be an invalid one. Oh, no!
Oh! Romeo's not going to be happy with that one at all. Darren Bell pretty much lost his lap, but instead of just getting out of the way, he's got in the way, and Romeo moves to one side and goes straight back to the pits. That was the kind of daft from Darren Bell. Unless he invalidated his lap time, he should have really just allowed the Porsche to go through.
And Sam improves a couple of tenths but does not change on the leaderboard. The 68 is the next car, and I'm just trying to find who the 68 is. That is Burrow-Bex. The next one will be the 999 of the Jackal. Burrow-Bex currently P9, moves up into P8. Where is the Jackal? He is down in 13th place. And then the car after that is the 555 of the Mercedes-Benz or Fat Bloke. Oh, as I think the Jackal clipped the wall there coming through the final corner. And this is an interesting qualifying session because, yes, it will stay damp down, like you said, but it's still going to get that little bit drier as this session goes on. That water is going to clear, and it's now down to showers. I believe Tim's on an invalid one. Yeah, I think he's just done an outlap. The bonus with this track then is, it's probably going to stay damp for the remainder of the session, but it is going to dry. It is going to get drier and drier and drier, where the lap times at the end is going to be the faster ones.
Brian Craig just improves just now, as I think the Fat Bloke does fail. Next car on a lap, I think, is the
Darren Bell,
64. Yeah, Darren Bell, and he's just invalidated his lap time now, so that's ruined that chance, as his tyres are probably starting to overheat and balloon. As Robert Smith now on a lap, and he comes into the final end of the lap. And like I said, Matt, sometimes it's worth just fueling up and going as long as you possibly can into the session, and just get a bit of lap time on the board at least, and just keep rolling with it. Yes, your tyres might balloon, but you know it's going to dry. Maybe set the pressures a little bit lower at the start of the session and just work on it through there. But at the minute, guys, there is a poll out on who you think is going to take pole position. It says 50-50 right now between John Goudet and Romeo.
The problem, sorry Dan, one of the problems the drivers are going to be facing here, you know this back from Silverstone a few years ago, is that the damp tyres are going to balloon. They're going to be, so red. They're going to be screaming at you for the temperature to cool down. There is a lot of standing water offline to cool them down on an outlap and sort of bail on a lap, bring your tyres down and go for one. The dries aren't going to work. They might get pressure, but they're not going to get the temperature. And this is where you're in a kind of crossroad in these damp, greasy conditions. If it was greasy, slicks all the way, and you're probably going to improve your times. But in these conditions, look, Robert Smith, no improvement, stays down in P9.
He
next car. Did he improve? Oh, apologies, I thought he already was now. Tim Venting's next, needs just over a tenth and a half. Well, finds even more. What do I know? I'm just going to shut up. Yep, ignore me.
Yep, this is what I mean. You need to be on track now, and cars that are invalidating their lap times, it's pointless. You need to be on track right now. Romeo, for example, he's at the end of the pit lane. I'm not sure why. Is he just waiting? I'm not sure what Romeo's doing, but John Goudet and the others, I did put Max Mulder in there, even though I just realised he's on a qualifying ban. These guys need to get the best out of these laps now, as Gomez in the straight line advantage of that Mustang is on circuit. John Goudet needs to get a clean lap. They all need to get some clean air and get these last laps done. And I think Romeo's missed the cut.
Yeah, I was about to say, everybody who's just left the pit lane's missed the cut. John Andrews is out, Dean's out, Nuke's out, Mark Tucker's out, Jackal's out, Burrow-Bex is out, Kieran's still not got a valid lap, and then I've just seen the 204 of Justin Winter, and I've just seen Romeo come out the pits. They're done. They are not getting a lap time in. That is John Goudet pulled off at the back by the final corner. He's now done for qualifying. Here comes Darren Bell. Rain is really down to a shower. You can start to see that racing line even more clear now, that darker line of the racing line appearing. Look at that. You can really see that. Darren Bell moves up to 16th from 21st, so he has massively improved. Next one is the 117. You've not got the chance to maybe bail. If Robert Smith's tyres are a bit hot, he's just bounced off the wall. Is that possibly him done? Who's going to... Let's wait and see. But, yeah, there's cars that have missed a chance here. I think Romeo missed a shot in the dark, and John Gooday's not going to improve on that P3. Who's the next one? It is still the 117 of Robert Smith. He hit the wall, though, so that's probably not going to be improvement. It is then next the 53 of DJ Phil. Yeah, no improvement, Robert Smith. Let's keep our eyes on DJ Phil then. He's 4.8 off the pace. He's in 18th place. 0.6 of a second will put him up ahead of Darren Bell. 1.2 seconds and he'll be up ahead of Mark Tucker. Let's see what DJ Phil can do. This track's getting better and better, and you want to be out there for the final. In fact, the 204's on a valid. Sorry, I missed that one. On the 204.
This is going to be tight for Romeo. Very tight. And Justin Winter just... Oh no, there he is.
Yeah, he lagged a little bit there. Still lagging a bit more.
Justin Winter makes it. Does P3, Romeo?
Yeah. Just, yeah. Kieran Argent. Did Kieran Argent make that? I believe he did. DJ Phil finished and didn't improve.
And he drops it.
So 90, has Argent dropped it? Yeah, he's invalidated his lap. So Kieran Argent, Max on the qualifying ban. Kieran Argent starts dead last. Richie Michelle, look, proving to be out there at the very end. Go second place. Who's next? 666. That is Dennis Hansen. So if anybody can get a pole here, Dan, you fancy this, man. He's got pace in this car. We've seen that in recent weeks. And is Tim still out on the circuit? The number 42. Yeah, he's just behind him.
Yeah, he is. But is he on an improvement? That is the question, as Dennis Hansen is on a lap. And more importantly, the one that did make it to the line was Romeo. And Romeo will keep an eye on his lap
No, he's
time.
invalidated, according to my
He's invalidated.
Yeah.
Well, we've said it before. Yeah. We said it before, and it has been invalidated, but it's not. As Hansen exits the final corner now. Currently 1.5 off the pace. What is his lap time going to be? He gets him in 2/10 of Tim.
And that's how dry this track has got at the very end. Even offline, it's starting to dry. It seems to change very quick here at Watkins Glen. Noticing that from last night's GT Force. Tim's just bounced off the wall in the background. Is this going to be improvement for Tim Ventink? No, it is not. What can Naval Gomez do? Oh, he goes within 2/10 of a second. So very close out front. Surely.
Romeo, I think, got there.
Yeah, I think Argent's still possibly on a lap, you know, because he's still going as well. I think Argent would have pulled it in.
And he's at the wall now, so, I mean, he's got to get a lap time on the board. But Romeo, has he literally left it to the very last second? Is he going to snatch pole?
1.2 seconds, let's find out as Romeo comes down to the line. This will be one of your lap times if he manages to take pole away. It's pole! 8/10 of a second! It's an unorthodox lap! It's one of your laps, Dan! He's done it at the very death! And what a lap from Romeo!
Brilliant lap, fantastic there from Romeo. Yes, he left it right at the last minute, but oh wow, there's all of us. I think, nah, he's not made it, he's not done it. But Romeo takes pole position and gives Porsche its first pole in a very long time. Very,
very long time. That's one of your laps, Dan. That is pulled out of the Dan Davis playbook, and the rain's back.
And it's going to dry as well.
It's good. Well, it's good. Yeah, this will go to damp. We've just seen when the rain. If you look at the weather, and I believe you guys on the broadcast can see the weather, you look at the first cloud. It's just changed from 2 weather strips to 1. So it's still raining. It's not as heavy as it was a moment ago, but it is still raining. That will go to light rain in 10 minutes, which means by the time the pit window opens, it will go damp. With 23 cars circulating, if this track goes greasy, very much a possibility it could do so. Lighter rain in half an hour. If this track goes greasy, this could be about who pits latest to put slick tyres on, Dan, in this race, because we know that when it goes greasy, you want to be on that dry tyre.
Yeah, and obviously these guys will have to try and come up with some form of plan or strategy to nail it, because you got to think fast in these conditions. It just, you know, you've got to get your pressures right. You've got to get everything set up correctly. And the guys at the back of the pack may necessarily still get some decent points out of it. There is a poll out for a feature race winner, Romeo, Tim Ventink, Dennis Hansen, and also Gomez. The interesting one for me, Matt, is going up towards the inner loop, aka the bus stop. Gomez in that Mustang is going to be incredibly strong if he gets a good run out of turn 1. And I think the Ferrari and Porsche especially are going to be under some immense threat from that Mustang.
Oh, they are indeed. But it's going to be how good his traction is out of the corner. P4, just nearly Mustang's first pole position. That would have been absolutely epic for him to get that. But this is going to be an interesting race. Dan, who's your money on? Because I don't really have a clue.
Oh, mate, I don't have a clue either. It could literally be any of these. I'm going to go Romeo. I think after the race 1 dominance, he seems strong, he seems confident in any conditions. I think it's going to be Romeo. He looks very strong in this condition and in this racetrack.
Yeah, I'm gonna go an outside shot here. I'm gonna say watch possibly Brian Craig from 11th, and I don't think he's gonna win it on outright pace. I think he wins this race on chaos and strategy alone. Good evening to Paul Williams in the chat. No worries that he's not able to make it tonight. He is, though, in the seat on the pit wall with Burrow-Beck. See, the bonus for the FBR boys, they've got a crew chief now, as they like to call it here in America. They've got a guy that might be able to say, it's dry enough, get in the pits, get the slick tyre on. You was right, by the way, Porsche's first pole in a long time. 42 poles now, 42 poles, sorry, for Porsche, just behind BMW. And 8 behind BMW are now pulling a little further away from the Ginetta. This is going to be bonkers. This is going to be an interesting one. Let's see who does what. I'm excited. This could be the chaos compared to race 1, or it could be brilliant.
Or it could be a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's definitely one to get some popcorn, sit down, enjoy the race, because this one is going to be fast, furious, and probably chaotic. And while you're at it as well, as you got your popcorn in your hand, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss any of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport. You can see these great races between these amazing drivers here at SimPlay, and also while you're at it, head over down into the description and have a look at our fantastic sponsors of Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. If you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, head over to our Discord and SimGrid, get yourself signed up and together, and you'll be able to do your hot stint, and we'll be able to put you in the correct category. Pro tomorrow night, they'll be taking on the Watkins Glen circuit, and from what I've heard, Matthew, we've got rain conditions here, but the possible pro drivers may need to be drinking a lot of fluids, because a threat of dehydration and heat wave heading to Watkins Glen.
From what we looked in today, without giving too much away, it looks like that weather could blow over, and it looks like it could be a warm one without the rain. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to keep your eyes on. Definitely looks a lot better than today. Tonight's had the worst amount of rain, although to be fair, we didn't get to see what was coming at the back end of the race in GT4s, with it's only been 2 short races. Look at that though, Dan, in half an hour it's going to stop raining. So it will this track will dry. Good evening to Micro J's in the chat. Great to see you back, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, in the chat. Great to see you doing well, Jay. Eckholt as well. Let's go, Dennis Hansen. I'm looking forward to this one. I think this could be an absolute belter of a race. Jay, while you're listening, just let you know that me and Gary got the endurance car to a 2nd place. We are 3rd in the championship, so when you're back, we're sat in a good position. But it's round 18 of the season. We've got 3 tracks left after this. Zandvoort, Zolder, your favourite place. And I can't wait to commentate if someone taps your rear end into pits. I might laugh.
Stop. I'm actually looking forward to Valencia, new circuit.
Brilliant.
An orthodox circuit as well, and you know how I like the weird circuits.
And the thumbnail for that, incredible. Can't remember if it's for Pro or Pro with Valentino Rossi in the background. But this is round 18. This is green and go for the final time this evening in Pro-Am. There's already a few cars side by side as they're looking to come down to turn 1. Max Mulder looks like he's already got through a few cars. Kieran Argent sort of hovering in the background. Let's go back, see if there's any carnage. All through a little bump there from Smith and Sam. But all through, don't say that. Jackal and Darren Bell's in the wall.
Already chaos.
Oh, a fat bloke's just span into the side of Jackal. So it's already kicked off. Wow, already. But it's Romeo. Oh, Gomez into the wall on the side. I thought he just hung on to that. It's not major damage. Looked like he got it all out of shape on his own. And that is the Jackal back in the pit lane from the race start. But it's Romeo, Dan, who's got Tim Venting call up his rear end after these first couple of corners. Round the outer loop they go. And Romeo doing exactly what he needs to do this time around. We've only lost, in fact, as the Jackal left. Yes, no? It won't let me click him, so I believe the Jackal has left the lobby.
I believe he has, yes. Yeah, he has, but Romeo got the start he needed, and luckily the Mustang had his own moment and wasn't able to really put any pressure on the top 2. Meanwhile, Richie Michelle was putting pressure on Dennis Hansen at the rear and really trying to go for that 3rd place. Meanwhile, the 2 Greasy Bandits boys once again worked their way up into qualifying and now trying and pressurize the guys in front, but Max is on the move. He's already up into 12th place, and now he's actually under pressure from Brian Craig, and Brian Craig passing him, but Max Mulder just taking his time. He does not need to rush this. He just needs to pick them off one by one. It's an hour-long race, Max. You can work your way through the pack. Yes, the guys will pull away out the front, but points, it means prizes, and you just need to work your way through the order.
So there'll probably be a qualifying ban coming the Jackal's way for next week, and Max Mulder already, like you say, good start from the back of the pack up to P12. Kieran Argent's only made up a handful of places. at the start of this one. And so far so good for Max Mulder. That's Darren Bell who's having a look on the back of Robert Smith down the order, and he's gooking up the inside. Look at them gaggle of cars in the background. DJ, Phil and Cranky Duckhead having a huge fight. What's happened, Dan?
Justin Winter had a massive moment on the exit curb at turn 1, and somehow he managed to catch it, but that exit curb at turn 1 looking lethal, and most of these guys just struggling with that. Max is not really working his way through the order at the minute.
No, he's not. And here comes Naval Gomez up the to the outside line. Sorry, that Mustang on the racing line, which is going to be a bit drier at the minute over Senna. And that Mustang's drunk. Thank you, Mama, for the carrots. He's got it sideways. Hold it together. Does just about enough. I believe Senna tapped him coming through the chicane. Not a lot could have been done about that. And Naval Gomez now has to be careful on his rejoin. And just rejoins just off of line.
Track's already gone to damp.
Yeah, this is going to be a crucial race, Dan, for these tyres. Fat blokes in the pits. This could be interesting. Senna's just bounced off the wall. So Senna's now in the wall with some damage. Sam's going to pass him, as is Tucker, as is Craig, as is Max Mulder. Fat bloke in the pits might want to risk them slick tyres, Dan, because this track could easily quickly go to greasy in no time with 22 cars, while Romeo and Tim Venting are out front doing the business.
I think while the rain is still here, it's not really going to go to greasy. It's more like in half an hour's time, so sadly I don't think it's going to dry up enough. But yeah, Tim Venting now started to put a little bit of pressure on Romeo. He's within less than half a second, and look, he's right on the rear wing of Romeo.
You can't really say he's in the boot of that Porsche at the moment, like you said in race 1. It's
he's in the engine.
At the front. He's in the engine of that Porsche. He's trying to get underneath its rear wing and get that slipstream down the corner. A little wiggle out the final corner, gets very close to the outside wall as down the hill they come. This is going to be another lap done, and look at the gaggle of cars in behind. It's Richie Michelle from Dennis Hansen. John Gooday's in the thick of this fight. Justin Winter just off the back. Good evening to Tracy, who is in the chat. She says go Max and hit the like button, everyone. Indeed so, please do that. As Burrow-Beck's falling off the back, Max is still going
Dennis
side by
Hansen
side. Apologies. And Max round the outside of Brian Craig. Sorry, Dan.
Dennis Hansen went wide, and that's allowed John Goudet a great run up the hill, but unluckily John Goudet couldn't get his nose far enough alongside, and now he's getting pressure from his teammate, which I don't think Justin Winter is going to attack. I think he's just going to sit there, but S2M Burrow-Beck's not many miles away from this gaggle of cars. Romeo's dropped it! So
Romeo's around. Did he get a tap? I saw Tim was right up the rear wing of him. Has he dropped it on his own, or what has happened there? He gets back going, but he has got some damage to that car. He's now got John Goodey going around his outside at the moment, and John will get through. Romeo's dropped it all on his own. Justin Winters had a moment as well. Robert Smith is into the pit lane. Down the order, Dean is trying to get on the back of DJ Phil. Where is Argent? He still hasn't come through the field at the back of the pack. And we're seeing Naval Gomez able to get past cars, but we're not seeing Argent able to do the same thing. In fact, Argent's got damage on the back of Cranky Duckhead's Honda. Now trying to look for the inside line at the bus stop. He's got him very hot, and Cranky does not want a piece of that big Ford Mustang.
I'm currently going back through the replays and just seeing what actually happened to Romeo and Tim. See if there was contact involved. But yeah, Tim, just looking at the replay as well, Tim's just slowly been creeping onto the back of him bit by bit, and they've been looking for the dry stuff.
Yeah.
And no contact made. Romeo dropped it all on his own.
Oh, there we go.
And Tim hit him quite hard as well, so probably decent damage on Tim's car.
Well, let's keep our eyes on Richie Michelle and the gap he's going to pull down, although Tim's got the benefit of Richie Michelle being under pressure from everybody behind him. Burrow-Beck is now in that fight. Max Mulder trying to tuck up the inside line.
In fact, now.
Max has gone a bit slow. Max is boxing here.
Is he going slicks?
Oh, well, I thought Max had just stayed to the inside line. Then we're slow through the corner. I think this is a strategy from Max Mulder to go to the slick tyre early on in this race. I think that's what we're potentially about to see here, Dan. Fat Bloke's out of the pit. Robert Smith is in the pits. Fat Bloke's has just unlapped himself from Max Mulder and from Robert Smith a lap there. Oh my days, Argent's got huge damage once again. The highs of Hungaroring, the lows of Watkins Glen. And he's left a chunk of his Mustang here in the Big Apple today.
He has indeed, and I've also learned how to do helicopter cam now.
Oh, there we
go.
go.
That's interesting. And I've got another different camera as well, so this is interesting.
Ooh, broadcasting 2 cameras. Check me out.
Fantastic. But Gomez now going to be struggling as he's in that dirty air of the cars in front. I really don't like this camera, actually. It's really horrible. But I mean, it shows more of the action for sure. But Dennis Hansen looked like he had a bit of a moment there, and that's going to allow just John Goudet. John really needs to clear these two cars now, because while Tim's a little bit wounded, he can now pressurize Tim, and Tim's obviously going to be possibly under some threat and mistakes. So there, Dennis Hansen makes the mistake. He runs wide, and John Goudet probably on the wrong side, but he will have that outside advantage with the grip. Dennis Hansen riding all over the curb, John gets the job done right around the outside. Beautiful move.
And it looked in the background like Borough Bex had just clipped to the back of Justin Winter. They both keep it going. I was about to say there, Dan, the bonus for John is on that outside line. He's probably going to be able to cool them tyres down a little bit and get the traction out the corner on that wetter surface. You can see the track is getting drier and drier every lap that we do. There's another car in the pits. The 28's now returned to the pits. That's Senna. Kieran's in there, as is Robert Smith. And Max Mulder came out. He came out in P18. But is Max on the slicks? I'm guessing he pitted for them. I think that is a great call from Max. In the GT4s last night, as Dennis Hansen is losing out to Romeo now coming up through the S's. Dennis Hansen tucks him behind. Dan, last night, the minute them tyres started to go red, the slicks worked. They didn't get up to pressure massively.
Max
but the
is
temperature,
on dries.
yeah, I can't blame him. I think that is a great strategy call from Max Mulder. DJ Fielding, I said it'd go greasy in this race. It's gone greasy within 9 minutes. That is a championship winning call from Max Mulder right there.
Yeah, but is it though? Obviously the pit window, if these guys survive for another 20 minutes with wet tyres, yes, they'll be hot, yes, they'll be blistering, but if they survive, that's not 2 pit stops they have to do. Yes, Max is going to be quick, but he needs to keep those tyres up to temperature and up to pressure. And at the minute, they're light blue at the minute, but
what's the pressures though? That's confident. The most important thing.
He's at 24 psi.
Right, so let's see if they start to come up. The nature of these corners will get them tyres nice and warm. This track is drying, and this track is getting better and better and better. Who is going to follow in? I think that is a great call from Max Mulder. I think that's a championship-winning call. DJ Phil and Cranky are in. They're possibly going for the slicks. Borough Bex looked a little slow out the corner there, but Tim, he has got some damage to the front of that car. No bonnet lifted at the moment, but this is going to be interesting to see who does what. Tim is not going to the box. That's an interesting one to see. Neither's Richie Michelle.
Well, there's no point. There is no point at this stage of the race. Yes, it's gone greasy, but the rest of the guys will just keep going and going. He has to basically react with the guys around him, not with what Max is doing.
No, but there's still...
Romeo's attacking.
There's still 13 minutes left until the pit window opens. Or 12 and a half minutes, sorry, still the pit window opens. In that 12 and a half minutes, how bad are these wet tyres going to be over Max Mulder's slick tyres? Cranky Duckhead's just come out of the pits. He's got a 30-second stop-go penalty, and he's right in the thick of that with Justin Winter. Just as you're about John Goudet, and Borough Bex is trying to lap Cranky Duckhead now up through the S's. Not able to. Dan, sorry, what was you saying about Goudet?
Well, he just had a moment through the first corner. It got a little bit loose, and Senna getting right out of the way, making sure he's not involved in any of this. But good job there from Senna, very respectful there. But Romeo really pressuring the back of John Goudet, and that's allowing Richie Michelle just to disappear up in front. If anybody's on the slicks at the start of the race...
What a fight. This is Tucker, Craig and Gomez. Sorry, Dan, all jostling for position down the straight. Now, I've got John Gooday's stream up in front of me. They are screaming red and have ballooned a mile. Max Mulder will be so quick at the moment. Or be in such a better position, not risking a puncture on his tyres as Gomez looks up the inside there of Craig, but it was just a little look. Max Mulder, fastest lap of the race. Dan, the change is now. The change is now. You've got a double pit. This is a 2-pit stop race. And who is that off in the wall? I think it's Senna. It is Senna.
And John Goudet has lost out to Romeo and Dennis Hansen. So... what do? Do you keep going on the west to just make him survive? Look for the cold patches, look for the water, or do you pop in? And there we go, Cranky Duckhead has hit S2M Borough Bex.
Contact there from the back marker getting involved. That's allowed Sam through. Borough Bex has dropped down. And now, look, he's going to be in this pack of Sam and Tucker and Gomez and Craig. And look at Gomez trying to thread the needle through the middle of two of them. And he gets the move done. Now then, Tim stays out. Richie Michelle stays out. John's pulled the trigger. Winter's in as well. And Cranky Duckhead in for his stop go. So the Greasy Bandits pulling the trigger here. They've seen Max has gone quicker and they're reacting.
Max is in the final sector now, so he's got traffic though, John Andrews, so he's trying to clear John as quickly as he can, but on those wets, sorry, on those dries, he's just a little bit squirrely on the back of the car. Now he's onto the wet part of the circuit. He's now going to get back onto the dry, but he clears John Andrews. But yeah, Max is looking very fast at the minute. John Goudet into the pits for the wet tyre. And yeah, sorry, the dry tyre at this point. But Max is in the final corners now. So this is going to be incredibly close.
This is going to be incredibly close. Telling you, Dan,
Max is pulling a blinder here.
It has changed. It has changed so quick. This race has become a 2 pit stop race. Tim is not getting them tyres at least another 10 minutes. There is no way he's going to get them tyres another 10 minutes.
Max has come in. They've not dropped.
They haven't dropped. And John's just dropped now. And Max Mulder, look at that. That is a championship winning strategy from the Dutchman. And I think that is a fantastic call. I said it on the comms. I said he's pulled the trigger there. It's a 2 pit stop race. Why others aren't reacting? There's a yellow flag. That is car 38. That is Dean, who has had a moment up through the inner loop onto the outer loop. I think these tyres are going to be screaming down.
Tim needs to react now.
100%. I think he's already going to lose out to Winter and Goudet. He's not reacting.
He's staying out. He's staying out.
Wow.
The longer he stays out as well, the more and more those tyres will chew up, and they'll get slower and slower. Romeo and Richie Michelle are staying out. This is going to be critical unless they try and get themselves... Tim's looking for the water. When does the pit window open? It's
37 and a half minutes. They've got
so
9 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Them tyres are done. They are cooked. The minute Max did the fastest lap, that slick tyre is the tyre to be on. And nobody reacted that lap. Max did the fastest one. When everybody was at the end of the lap, no one reacted. Now they've reacted. Possibly John reacted a lap later than he should have done. But everybody else who's staying out are currently reacting even later. Gomez stayed out. Tucker, Craig, Burrabex. He's got some bad damage, but he stayed out. Nuke Waste is going to stay out. Dean is surely in a party with his former teammate. Surely John Goudet has said to him, Dean, get the slicks on. He stays tighter to that pit line. He is going to come in. And Max, look at him. He's already into the penultimate corner. And where is Tim Venting? He's coming down towards, the toe section of this lap. Max is on a charge at the moment. I think that's a championship winning call right there.
Yeah, although Tim could, if he just manages to nurse the tyres, look after them and get to the pit window, he'll still have that pit advantage. So Max needs to basically hunt him down and catch him. He needs to catch it. He needs to catch the pack and pass Tim.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. Because you think about this now. If Max gets within 5 seconds of Tim by the pit window, Tim's got to go that extra 5 seconds in the pits because of the tyre change he's got to do. He's not getting to the end of this race on them tyres. That's a given. So Tim's guaranteed a 30-second pit stop.
Yeah, he is a guaranteed a 30-second pit stop, but Max still has to do another pit stop. He still has
That's
to
what I'm saying.
If
If Max gets within 5 seconds, he hasn't got to pass Tim. He's got to get within them 5 seconds, and he makes his time up.
We're talking a massive gap here. Tim Venting now going into turn 1. He's got to do pretty much. He's got a lap. They're 2 seconds a lap faster than Tim Venting. Then that will just get him to S2M Burrabex. So, onto the back of B. Craig. Because S2M Burrabex is currently 22 seconds behind B. Craig. It's a massive gap, and I do think it's a good choice, it's a bold choice, but I do also think you're asking a lot from Max here. He had nothing to lose, to be fair. I think John Goudet and Justin Winter should have stayed on the west. I think Tim is still a hot favourite for this one.
Well, Max taking 1 or 2 seconds out of Tim at the moment. Well, let's see. I think the strategy from Max is a great call, because let's not forget, these drivers running the risk of puncturing their wet tyres. They're getting so hot and so ballooned right now that they are risking on the edge of being on the puncher. At the minute, watching Romeo, who's got some damage to the side and back of his car, all over the back of Richie Michelle. And that Porsche now looking up the inside, just had a little sniff up towards toe. Can't get through there. Tim Ventink's just had a bit of traffic to lap. Who was that? That was Senna, who he's just put a lap on. Max Mulder. John Gooday's now gone fastest. Max Mulder now within 3.8 of Nuke Waste. So Max is coming up through the S's. Tim's at the back end of the circuit. Max is
an invalid lap, but Justin
behind.
Winter went quicker again. He's in the 1 minute 50s at the minute.
So he's in the 1 minute 50s. Tim's lapping 52s, 53s. And this is going to be an interesting strategy. I think the slick runners are possibly going to pull off a blinder here. So Tim's got through. Romeo
Tim's
still on the
last lap
back
was a
of Richie Michelle.
53.
Yeah, exactly. And what's this one going to be? This one could be even slower.
They're lapping 3 seconds. They're lapping 3 seconds a lap faster at this stage, as Richie Michelle and Romeo are going at it. And Romeo, he seems to have pace on these trashed wets, to be fair. So
he's through.
I think the Porsche
done him in a straight line.
Yeah, that's it. That Porsche's quick in a straight line. Whatever he's done to it, he seems to be very quick in a straight line. But there we see Richie Michelle running wide. Where is Max at the minute? He's currently the far end of the circuit.
Did Fat Bloke put slicks on? He has just driven around the outside of Brian Craig, and Fat Bloke pitted earlier with damage, and it changed to damp, and I said maybe put slicks on wouldn't be a bad strategy for him. With all the damage he had to repair, he had nothing to lose. He has just driven. Oh, no, he's in the wall.
It probably is the slicks. It probably is, but he's just touched that wet curb and gone round.
Where's
now,
Tim?
The interesting thing for me now is what Romeo can do now he's got clean air. Senna is on the back of Tim.
Senna's on the back of Tim, and he came into the pits a little earlier as well. And then if you look at that there, look, Max has just got past Nuke Waste. That is job done for Max Mulder. He gains another position. Argent's got more damage. That Ford Mustang's got more repair bills than a Williams this season. Tim is coming down towards the heel. Max has gone through turn 1. So Tim is a sector in front of Max right now. Tim's gone through sector 2. Max is coming up to sector 1. So that's about 30 seconds depending on the sector times, which I'm sure Dan will be able to bring up and tell us the sector.
Track's greasy. Going to possibly dry soon into green, maybe. It's just 10 minutes time. It's going to be no rain at all. Now, what Tim may have an advantage to Max right now. Obviously, Max has set his tyres for the greasy conditions. If they manage to go further into the session, Tim could possibly hang on to those wets and have the tyre pressure set perfectly for the dry conditions.
Yeah.
Max, meanwhile, has got them set to greasy, unless he's managed to try and leave them dry. Who knows? But that's probably why his pressures are so low. But he's got to be careful with curbs and obviously risking the puncher. Justin Winter now, fastest lap of the race to his name.
Well, Max has just cleared Borobex as well, and now he's 30 seconds off the back of Brian Craig. And then what we got, 8, 9.
Senna's
16.
unlapping himself. Tim's let him go.
Yeah, I don't blame Tim.
I still think if I was on this strategy, Tim and Romeo are still the hot favourites for this win because they've only got to do one stop. Max has got a big
Depends
gap
if they get a puncher in the next couple of minutes. If they get a puncher in the next lap or 2, or 3.
Oh, Romeo's at a moment and he's gone round.
Oh, he's in the wall, same place as last time, and now he's got to be patient, and everybody's going to pass him. And pass him again, and maybe pass him again. Yep, there goes another one. Yep, oh, he just pulls forward there on Sam a little bit. That gives Sam a nervy moment. Here comes Naval Gomez. He's going to go around the outside of Romeo. Romeo is that tyres? Is that his tyres getting too hot?
Borobex and the nuclear waste. So,
well, Max was 30 seconds at the last split time behind Brian Craig. This is going to indicate to us how much Max is gaining on Brian Craig per sector. It was 30 seconds a moment ago. Max is coming up to the first sector timing beam. Tim's already in sector 2, as is Richie Michelle, Dennis Hansen, Sam. Romeo's not quite there. Here comes Max through sector 1. He's taken 4.5 seconds from the start line to sector 1.
Yeah, but that's on to Brian Craig.
Massively.
About the gap to Richie, to Tim.
Yeah, 100%, but he's still going to take a couple of seconds.
Oh, Tim's gone very wide in the final corner. He's struggling. He's really struggling now.
Yeah, Brian Craig's within 8 tenths.
I think the outside bet here is Dennis Hansen. His car is relatively clean, and he looks the more stable of the guys in front.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. The other outside bet is potentially, depending on when the pit... Well, depending on when the pit window... You imagine that pit window opens as Tim comes round.
Romeo's come in.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Damage to that car.
Look at the time.
Yeah.
If he waited a lap, he's just sped.
I think he's just changed into second gear. I think he's just changed into second gear in the pit lane. Well, that's a position for Max. So let's see where Max is compared to this now.
Max is on the grass.
Jeez, Max. I'm trying to help you here, Max. I'm trying to big you up. Stop. Come on.
The thing is, though, Max is getting hunted down by the two greasy bandit duo.
They are on a charge, aren't they? Yeah, they are coming quickly.
Oh, Max runs it wide. He's coming to the line now. He's going to match his fastest lap at the minute. He's doing 51.3, I think that lap was. Yeah, it's a 51.4. Meanwhile, John behind him done a 49.
And what's Tim done?
Tim is last lap, I will tell you now. Let's decide to put him right at the bottom. His last lap was a 56.5. So John Goudet's taken near enough 7 seconds in one lap. It's Max is into the bus stop.
Who's the 68? That is Burrabex. Oh yeah. Oh look, Burrabeck's just cruising for the pit window. That's probably why there was the yellow flag. He's got that much damage. He's cruised for the pit window to come.
This is the problem I had with Romeo. Look, he's in the pits right as the pit window is open. He literally just had to wait a lap. Tim is in. But this is where Tim can now relax. He's managed to make it in. He's in to make
Richie
a tire
Michelle
change.
has stayed out. I'm baffled. Oh, Romeo, stop-go penalty. His day's just gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, we did say we think he's selected a gear, but he's got to pit anyway, but he's got to pit again. And all these guys coming in for the slick tyres now. Tim, whether he decides to repair the damage, that is the question. Where is Max Mulder? He's now into the final few corners. But a reminder as well, he has to pit within the pit window.
I'd pit now.
Yeah. If you've got clean air, you might as well just use it. If all these cars in front of him are pitting, you might as well use the clean air.
Yeah.
Look, that bloke coming into the pit. You use the clean air. Use the clean air to make hay while you can. All of them are in the pits, and Tim Benting has not repaired the damage. Gomez has been dropped, but he's not gone green by the looks of things. He hasn't been dropped. But
keep our eyes on that. Richie Michelle didn't pit. That's positions lost for him. He's going to lose out to Max massively now. Max, I think, is running second place net in this race. Tim's now got to get tyres up to pressure and temperature, and he's got to make sure that he's able to on this greasier circuit.
I don't think Max is net second. I think Dennis Hansen is.
Nope. Sorry, at the moment Max is second. Sorry, apologies is what I meant. At the moment Max is second place, and it's where they're going to come out in this one that for me is going to be the
track looks bone dry now.
Yeah.
Max, oh my god, he's pushing the limits here. John Goudet though is
these two can go to the very end as well. Navel speeding in the pit lane, stop-go penalty. That's going to end his hopes of a decent points finish in this second race. Was going well as well was Navel Gomez. What a shame for him.
Yeah. Where is Tim Benting after all
Richie
this?
is staying out. His race is done. He's 41 seconds ahead of Max, but I don't care who you are. Max is going to close that gap.
Finally gone bright green.
Yeah.
It's taken this long for them to get bright green, and he's currently 7/10 up his best. And yeah, he's looking very quick at this stage now. Max is starting to pump the lap times in, as John Goudet though is there, but the problem is they lose a pit now to Tim Benting. It's a very weird strategy. Yeah,
I don't think their race is Tim Benting. I think their race is pull over Dennis Hansen and Sam for a podium. I think that's what their race is now. I think leave Tim.
They need to leave this pit window the last minute.
100%.
The very, very last minute. And they need to come in, stop, and go. Dennis Hansen and Sam are looking like they're very good for a podium at this stage, but they've got to get to the end. Because I do think Max now with clean air, and also John Goudet. John actually catching Max quite a bit there. Not sure what happened to Max. Max is up. Max is up by 2/10, so John must have had an absolute flyer of first sector, and he's flashing the lights at Max. Yes. Oh, he's getting a little bit confident here. Is John Goudet, a bit of a flashy.
Track's green, Dan. Track is dry, so the shower's just still there momentarily, but the track is now green, so it's going to start to rubber in. We're probably not going to see an optimum circuit, but we are going to see a fast circuit. That will be what we're going to see in this one. And this is going to be an interesting one to see who does what in this race. Stop-go penalty for Kieran Argent. After he's put in the chat, what can go wrong has gone wrong. You didn't expect a stop-go though, Kieran.
Yeah, that's gone wrong. And Max Mulder, meanwhile, he's 8/10 up on his best, but John Goudet is right on him.
And also, they've took about what was the gap? 41 seconds to Richie Michel at the start line.
Yeah,
gap's 31. Richie now
Michel
in.
He's ruined that.
Where's he going to come out here? He's going to come out so far behind, not necessarily a pit stop behind, but these two on the pace they've got now. They're gonna be flying. Naval Gomez in. Dean is in. Dean's left that late. John Andrews, if he's not on the slicks, he needs to get in. As does Darren Bell. As does
John
Romeo.
Andrews is off. John Goudet nearly hit him, and how has he not hit the wall?
John Andrews is blocking the pit entry here. He can't move neither. He has now. Now he's got a bit of clear track. He couldn't move because of everybody coming through, but he does now. John Goudet dropped off the back of Max Mulder just a little bit here then. But, yeah, Richie Michel in, and look at the amount of time he's going to lose. Justin Winters through, Tim's through, Dennis has gone through. No, he's not
Tim
yet,
Benting,
sorry.
fastest lap. Tim Benting now is on the pace, and this is what I mean. They're not likely to catch Tim or pass Tim now.
No, their race is Dennis Hansen. That's where their race is.
Yeah, and at the minute, I think it's going to be close. It's going to be very, very close. They really do need to spread this stint out as far as possible.
Yeah, their race is Dennis Hansen for sure. Sam, I think they're going to have easily covered. It depends on where Dennis Hansen come out over Richie Michel. We'll see that gap in a moment. That gap's saying 40 seconds. Yeah, so he's 20 behind Tim. He's 24 behind Justin Winter. He's about 26 behind John. So let me load up my little thing that I have, and I'll be able to roughly tell you what the loss for a pit stop is.
John Goudet looking very good in that middle sector. That's where he seems to be finding the time on Max at the minute, and he's really close to the rear of him coming into the final few corners here. So John possibly eyeing up an opportunity to pass Max, and that will get him net seconds.
So time loss for a tyre change is 62 seconds. You knock 5 seconds off for that if they just do, you know, a regular pit. Max is in. Max is in. So Max is coming in for his normal stop. So if you take 5 seconds off, that's 58 seconds in and out, plus your 25-second pit stop. That's what John needs.
Yeah, this is what's really going to tell how this is all going to unfold. Now, Max is in the pits. Dennis Hansen is in the final few corners, and Max hasn't even got to his box. Sam is now in the final few corners. I think it's still going to be a lot to ask from these guys to catch him. It's going to be a lot.
I like the boldness of the strategy. You know, you've obviously gone for that gamble of everybody going into pit. I quite like that from Max and John and Justin. I think it's a bold strategy. Tim as well played a bold strategy by, you know, he could have risked a puncher, and if he gets a puncher in this race, you know, and does have to pit then just as the pit window opens like we saw Romeo, that's you know, you're on the same strategy then as Max and John. So bold either way you look at it, Dan. I liked it from Max. Where's Max going to come out? That's going to be the question. Sam's through, Richie Michel's through, DJ Phil's now in.
Max is finally gone.
Yeah, Mark Tucker and Brian Craig, who are side by side over the start line. These two have raced each other all day. And there they go. Is Max off the limiter? Yes, he is. Max has came out P7.
So my question here is now, Max has come out and he's now got a very, very big gap to make. And I think, like I said, it's too big a gap to make. Do you think John Goudet and Justin Winter may have panicked seeing Max's lap time and reacted way too earlier than they should have? Because they were in the top 5 comfortably.
Yes, but it depends on how you feel as a driver, doesn't it, with them tyres? They're both coming in now, it looks like. If I was John and Justin, I'd have gone to the very end of the pit window.
Oh,
Justin's in quick. Yeah, that's quick. If I was John and Justin, I'd have gone the extra 5 or 6 minutes there. I don't think I'd have pitted that early. Either way, they have. Max has come out P7. Brian Craig's 2.8 off the back of him. So this is where John and Justin are going to tuck in. They're going to tuck in around this Dean and... I can't see who the lapped car is in front of Dean. Is that Cranky? I believe it is. It's Cranky Duckett. No, it's not. It's Esteban Burrabex. They're going to fit in there, just ahead of this fight and just behind Max Mulder, depending on their in-lap. I don't mind it from John and that. I think they've got a... Look, it was a risk.
No, I think if they wanted to... They should have at least... They should have split their strategy, I think.
Potentially so, yeah. Does that...
Where's Max now? Max is in the final corner. And, yeah, I just think that John Goudet's gone green now. I think they should have split it, really. But they haven't. And, yeah, I think John should have carried on. Possibly, yes, he would have lost places, but he would have gained them all back on the slicks. Yeah. Max has gone very wide in turn 1. But
there we go, Justin Winter, stop, go. Not surprised by that one. I think the thing for me, Dan, is did they, what, you know, how comfortable was they on them wet tyres? It was screaming at them over pressure.
Well, even though if they
else.
just tiptoed round, they would have been where Dennis Hansen and Sam is. They were ahead of them. They were ahead of these cars.
Yeah, they was in that fight with
Richie Michelle. No, they were ahead. They were definitely, you know, they were in that scrap. They were definitely ahead of Sam. And these guys have stuck with the wets. It's paid off. And now the rest of them have got a mountain to climb. It's 30 minutes still left of the session. It is dry, yes, but you're talking, was it 20-odd seconds just to get up to the back of Richie Michelle?
I'm not sure. We'll see where Max crosses that timing green, because John's already close to the back of Brian Craig. That's
Gomez sets fastest lap.
Yeah, Gomez has just gone the quickest overall for the day.
On the
Max
back of Tim Benting.
21 seconds behind. Gomez on the back of Tim. Indeed he is. And he's going to try and unlap himself here.
Tim's like, no,
Tim.
you can go through, mate.
Yeah, not having any of that. Don't want any of that. Let the Mustang
course,
go through.
Smart decision. Yeah, smart decision. You do not want to be getting involved in any, like...
He's got damage as it
cars.
is. He's got damage as it is. Why do you want to risk having more?
I mean, he's got 25 seconds to Dennis Hansen. It's just, you know...
Exactly.
Tim has done the safe option, and it's obviously paid off. He probably started thinking, oh my God, have I just gone the wrong way? But it's now starting to pay off. He hasn't had to make the second pit stop. A one stop was quicker. But,
the one stop was always going to be quicker. It was that case of puncher territory, wasn't it? The tyres going bang. And
yeah, but again, if they just, like they did, they just eased off the time, eased off the pressure, just nursed the tyres home.
100%, and that's obviously down to the individual driver. 28's had a spin. That is Senna again. This is a terrible night for Senna in this race. And he's actually had a moment up through the S's where John and Max and Brian Craig are coming now. And John's trying to go around the outside. Can't see Senna's car anywhere. That must be off the circuit. Here comes John Goodate. Got the speed over Brian Craig. He's going to try and go around the outside of the first part of the chicane. Brian Craig thinks, nope. On you go, buddy. You're quicker than me. I do not want a part of that. And John Goodate through. John's got some good pace here today.
He has indeed, but like I said, I think he's thrown it away with the strategy. I think he should have done whatever Tim done, not worried about Max. Tim is leading the championship, and right now he's gaining a whole load of points, leading the way. And obviously with Dennis Hansen, Sam and Richie Michelle all between his championship rivals, that's just, you know, drivers that really aren't in the championship fight. No Diz either, so it really has played into Tim Benting this first race, this second race.
Just a gamble, wasn't it? And it's just paid out for Tim.
I will be honest, it was a 50-50. You know, the slicks did look like the better tyre. They were quicker, but the pit stop was just too long. Yeah. It was too long to make up, and in the end, if you looked after the wets, if you got them to the pit window and switched to the dries, you were able to then use that advantage of one stop. And Tim, Dennis and Sam have managed to do that. Max is hunting Richie Michelle pretty quickly, but not quickly enough.
Yeah, not quickly enough, and I think he's going to have the worries of John Goodey. We've currently got Nuclear Waste and DJ Phil having a scrap out there. This is the one we're watching at the moment. It has been a great race. Reminder that the pros are back on the track tomorrow night. Myself and Phil Raiden, PM Motorsport, will be bringing you the action for that one, live at 8 PM GMT +1. If you do like what you see here and want to watch tomorrow night, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and the bell to be notified when we go live, as well as, subscribe to this channel if you are new. For the program, Watkins Glen tomorrow, the 68 yellow flag. There's the 46 with the yellow flag. The 46 is Kieran. And Burrabex, oh, he's looked like he was stuck in the wall. Burrabex, not a great night. Kieran Argent, you know, we can put this one down as a bit of a bad one.
Yeah, I think he's going to be getting rid of that Mustang pretty quickly after this season. I think he'll be looking to try other cars, as Nuclear Waste, meanwhile, was really hanging the back end of that Ferrari on the back of DJ Phil. And let's be honest, these two, by the way, have stuck with it. They stuck with the wets, and it's paid off. So,
yeah. Kevin Hodgins in the pits again. Sen has also returned to the pits. That would be a qualifying ban if he doesn't return to the track. And no points. He's retired before that three-quarter mark. And apologies, we said last week that Mirko Ricciardo lost 25 championship points. Just want to clarify, he did not. One retirement was not through any issue of his own. It was in the endurance event, so therefore it is only the two. Obviously, he still has that qualifying ban for the next event he is at. We are still watching this fight, though, for P11 and 10 between DJ Phil and Nuke Waste. We've got Justin Winter gaining on the back of them as well. Nuke Waste so much better through that inner loop over DJ. Pit window closes now. Rain in half an hour. Yeah, why not? Why not?
I don't think it's going to hit the circuit.
Track's evolved massively tonight, by the way. We've gone from wet to damp to greasy to green to fast. Don't think we're going to see optimum, but wow, has this track at Watkins Glen.
Session. We did in the sprint, but that's about it. We've had pretty much every single track condition.
Imagine if that goes to optimum, the only one we haven't had was flooded.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, that shows how much the track evolution is. Good 22 cars on the grid, you know, and the way the track is. The track evolution here at Watkins Glen just proves how it's going to be. The sun's starting to come out now, so the sun's making an appearance. Imagine this is an endurance race, you wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, constant changes, constant strategy calls. It would just be absolute chaos, and track has now gone to fast as the sun comes out.
Yeah, honestly. Justin Winters just got past Nuke Waste. He's tucked underneath DJ Phil. He's going to look to try and make the move up the inside of DJ Phil, heading down to turn one. Look at it, there's glare coming off the windscreens, and here comes Nuke Waste having a look up the inside of DJ Phil into turn one. Didn't get past, sorry Dan.
I'm looking at Max's tyres. They're now starting to go yellow. They're now starting to go yellow on the left-hand side, and they're starting to get to 28 PSI. As John Goudet has brought the gap down to 2.2 seconds, and look at that beautiful sunshine. I'm not sure what John's tyres are like, but 28 PSI is pretty much where Max is sat.
John's are bang on, well, nice and green, bang on pressure. So I think what you said earlier was bang on. Pressure's absolutely spot on. I can only see the lines. I can't quite read that.
So they're not in pressure, because obviously what we've learned in recent times is ACC updates suggest that you want
0.9, 27.1 around that mark.
Okay, so you want them in the 26.5, 26.7, so they're slightly over, but they're in much better condition than what Max's are in right now.
You say that's what we've learned, that's where you want them. That's where you want them, but run a higher risk of punches.
John had a moment. Oh, he had a brown.
Who's off in front of him?
Max is off.
I was going to say, who's off in front of him? Max has been in the wall, so Max is off. Here comes Brian Craig. Brian Craig was through. Max has got rear damage.
Max has got light damage. He's got light damage on the rear.
Yeah, he's got rear damage. We'll get back to the tyres in a moment. We'll get back to Nuke Waste and DJ Phil a second. In fact, Nuke Waste has got past him, so that's that one ended. But Max, well, game over. That's more points for Tim Venting, and now points for John Goodate again. But go back to the tyres. Sorry, go on, Dan.
Tim Venting's gone purple, and he's passed Gomez again. And Gomez is really... Oh my God, this is going to end in tears for Tim in a minute, because he's passed to Gomez, and Gomez is back on the rear of him again. Oh my God! Gomez either needs to back off, or Tim needs to just let him disappear.
Tim's got a lot of trust in Gomez there, let me tell you.
He's got a lot of trust.
Jeez. Back to the tyres though, Dan, like we figured out, yes, the ideal pressure's 26.7, but you run a higher risk of a puncher. You can run them at 27.6 and run less. That's kind of the window between there. The lower you run, the higher risk of a puncher if you get the message of, you know, loss of pressure. Less risk if you run that 27.6. But again, what's the performance? Possibly performance swings the way better to the 26.7 PSI pressure. So It's a tough one to call because you're in that window of 1 whole PSI. Do you run the risk of maybe being a little slower but less risk of a puncher, especially in an hour-long race or in an endurance race? Whereas in the sprint, you run close to that 26.7 and run that higher risk of a puncher, but it's 20 minutes. You're not really going to get one.
Yeah, I think the 26.9 is where I tend to just run my tyres. 26.8, as close to that as possible. But yeah, it all depends on the driver. I've recently learned that the 26-point area seems to be the best grip and the less likely to drop it. But Dennis Hansen, meanwhile, 30 seconds off the lead, and Sam started to catch him here.
Sam has started to catch him, and Max Mulder, take the strategy out of it for a second, hasn't looked comfortable tonight. Let's say that.
No, he hasn't, and he didn't look comfortable in the GT4s either. You know, I don't think it's his circuit, and he's having another moment on the exit of the toe,
yeah.
And Tucker's catching him.
Tucker is catching him, and we've just watched him on board for this lap, and just a few twitches here and there. Now, whether that's a light damage on the rear, just playing a part of it, but he has not looked comfortable in his McLaren. And do you know what? This is one circuit I can say that the McLaren hasn't looked a great car.
No, but Dennis Hansen, meanwhile, has made it look like a good car.
Well, tomorrow night, Michael Leclerc goes and smashes 2 race wins.
Or Overtaker, you know,
yeah.
Or Clouden or Ben, you know, 4 very capable McLaren drivers.
That's the point as well. We've got a new driver on the grid. What is? He'd have done it on SimGrid. Let me find out. We've got a very good driver joining us tomorrow night.
Porsche, I believe, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, Will Freeman. Let's take a look. What did he sign up with on SimGrid? Because I forgot to ask him. But he did sign up Porsche. There, so he'd have picked his own car. Yeah, Porsche 992. So Porsche could get another win. Let's see.
Oh, now you're putting pressure on him.
Wow. Starts at the very front for race 1. Exactly. Mark Tucker within a second of Max Mulder now, Dan.
Yeah,
so
Max is struggling.
He is indeed. Just going to go down to Kieran Argent and Bora Bex.
Sorry, near enough every lap that Max has done, he's invalidated it, and his last lap was a 50.7. He's lifting and he's twitching like mad at the minute.
Yeah, he is indeed. It's not been the night for Max Mulder. Senna has come back out on circuit, so that will not be a quali ban. Oh, what an absolutely crazy night!
Look at the sunshine; it's absolutely beautiful here now.
And then in half an hour's time, it's going to be raining, but the race will be done by then. It's been the tale of 2 halves, hasn't it? This race. It sounds like a football game almost, but it has been the tale of 2 halves of this race. Survive the first bit, drive normal in the second bit.
John Andrews and Roberts.
Oh, Max has had a massive moment. Sorry, he's had a huge moment there, and Tucker's going to gain once more.
Yeah, he is indeed. Max just pushing the limits here, and I think, right now Tim is going to struggle right now to do anything about the cars in front.
Well, let's wait and see what happens. There is 14 minutes left in this race. Max just being able to stay that 1.2 ahead of Tucker right now. Bora Bex has got Argent within 7/10. Argent's a little wide through there. They've got Senna behind them, but Senna's 2 laps down on them. So that isn't going to be anything for Senna in that one. Argent and Bora Bex, they've been in the wars tonight. Senna's just bounced off the wall. These 2 have been in the wars tonight. And, yeah, just waiting. Oh, Argent, that is running the track limits. Which is one thing we've not really had to discuss tonight, really. To be fair, the track limits, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, it has been decent from these guys. Conditions. This is where more likely it's going to start to creep in as Mark Tucker once again gets even closer to Max Mulder at the minute. I seem to have lost all sound to my game, so I don't know if you can still hear me, Mathew. I hope
yeah,
so.
We still have you down.
Okay, must be having any of the game whatsoever.
Here comes Argent. He's going to have a look on Bora Bex. Kieran Argent down that back straight towards the inner loop. Argent's going to come down the inside line. Later on the brakes into the inner loop. Argent all over the curbs. Gets it horribly wrong. Onto the circuit once again. And then him and Bora Bex both into the wall without making contact with each other. So, their nights have gone from bad to worse. Burrowbeck still stationary. Yeah, bless them.
It's not been the night for them, but well, it's been a bad night for them. It's been fantastic for others, especially for the likes of Dennis Hansen, Sam, Richie Michelle, John Goudet, and Brian Craig as well. So,
has Sam been on the podium this season?
I don't believe he has.
No, he hasn't. Highest finish of 5th. Where's Fat Bloke? Fat Bloke, remember, lap 1 was in the pit lane because of damage. He's 15th, so he's not going too bad. Robert Smith's back in the pits. Burrowbeck's returns to the pits. Yeah. Not gone well at the minute for some of these drivers tonight, but hey, they can look back and reflect. And well, Kieran Argent thought Watkins Glen was a nightmare to turn that Mustang left and right. He's got to go to Zandvoort next week. That is going to be hell for him.
Yeah, it is indeed. I think the Mustang is really going to struggle there. I've currently just had to leave the game a minute, see if
no problem.
It's the game or my headset. But
Mark Tucker's within 3/10 of Max Mulder. Apologies, Dan. Max is on the grass a little bit, coming through the outer loop. Mark Tucker is now right there. Max has got even more damage from somewhere, so Max has hit something else, and he's got damage now on the left-hand side of his car. He has scraped something. Mark Tucker now right on the back, and this is exactly what Tim will be wanting at the minute. The gap in terms of points. Tim will score 56 because of that fastest laps. Max at the moment will only score 30, so that's a 26-point swing. That'll take the gap down to... a 26-point swing. That'll take it down to 71 points with 339 left to play with. Tim is reeled Max in today. John's also going to gain a load on Max.
Yeah, he is as well. Obviously, race 1 helps him, and this race now will help him out as well. So as I get myself back into the lobby, thankfully, and it's all working lovely now.
Big twitch, Max Mulder. Big twitch again, Max Mulder. So Assetto, Burrowbeck and Senna has just returned to the pit lane as well. He is another driver who has had an absolute nightmare. Them two will need to come out of the pits. That'll be a retirement. If they don't, John Andrews is... Oh, no. Ooh, Brian Craig nearly in the wall. John Andrews, stay still. I beg of you, stay still.
I think he's reversing into the wall. Max Mulder's coming to the hill. Oh, my God.
No.
John's move.
Romeo's round.
Oh, John Andrews there. He could have just waited for that window, but he didn't. And Romeo's come off a lot worse from it. He was ahead of Dean, and Dean's got back ahead of him.
Yeah, and Fat Bloke's gained on him as well. That could be huge for Fat Bloke. Meanwhile, Tucker has got past Max Mulder. So that's more points than Max Mulder will lose now.
Yeah, Max actually lost it, I think, in the bus stop, possibly reacting to Romeo going... sorry, not Romeo, John Andrews, and just trying to skip back on his stream. Yeah, so Tucker got the run up the hill and just out-dragged him. Completely out-dragged him.
Did Max possibly have a bit of a bigger lift than Tucker then coming up the hill?
I'm watching the stream now. I'm just having a look.
Gomez is at the outer loop, so that's going to be that's going to be one for Gomez to possibly.
He even had a slide going up the hill. He had a slide going up anyway, so he had a snap, and that's what unsettled him, and that's it. Tucker's gone through. Yeah. Max Mulder is really going to throw this one away.
Well.
And he's going to have to come back stronger at his home circuit.
Well, the 31's off now. That's cranky duckhead. And really, these drivers down the order have had a nightmare night. He's gone off. He's got huge damage on his car. And he can't even get that one back going. The 53's coming around. Who's the 53? Oh, no. Oh, pulls it out the way just before DJ Phil gets there. Good job, because that would have been a ticket.
But the last 10 minutes and these drivers are starting to struggle. Maybe the tyre pressures have gone a bit too far now, and they're all starting to struggle.
Yeah, possibly so. It's been an interesting night, that's for sure. Sam's got within a second or up to a second of Dennis Hansen here, Dan, just proving that the McLaren, not a great car around here, and the Aston we saw was getting the big bop with the Mercedes in the Audi. and possibly why. Dennis Hansen doesn't look like he's put a foot wrong, but that Aston just looks stronger than the McLaren at the moment. Sam able to carry much more corner speed through that final corner than Dennis Hansen, and down the start line they come now. To start the 27th lap, he's pulled another 4/10 in the final sector. Dennis very slow through turn 1. And Sam just creeping onto the back of him. John Andrews into the pits. I assume Cranky's possibly going to drive into the pits when he gets there. And there is all sorts of chaos here. Kieran's got ahead of John Andrews as well, so that's another place for Kieran Argent that he's made up. And can try and head after Robert Smith, but I doubt it. Look at Sam now. That is no longer 0.6 of a second. He is right up the rear wing of that McLaren. Within 0.2, backs out a little bit, not as brave through the inner loop. Dennis Hansen gets it on the grass, so now Sam's going to try and tuck underneath, try and hold a tighter line through the outer loop. And this Aston Martin looks a lot better than the McLaren at the moment.
It does indeed, and also while that's going on, Max Mulder's catching Mark Tucker again, so he's right on the rear wing of him once again. But right now, Sam is the one on the move, and Dennis Hansen struggling at this stage. And Sam's all over the back of him, but can't find a way through. I think in any moment's time, we should be able to go to optimum, I think, because there's loads of marbles on the side of the circuit.
Yeah, there's a few developing, so let's see if it does go to optimum at the very end of this race. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Sam, though, does look like he's got the better of. Max Mulder's within 0.3 of Mark Tucker. Let's just jump down to that fight a second. That is Senna being lapped once more. So Senna's come back out onto circuit. I believe Borough Bex has stayed in the pit lane. Max not able to get through as of yet. So Tim Venting leads this race from Dennis Hansen, from Sam, Richie, Michelle, John Goodey. Then it is Brian
Justin
Craig.
Winter has stolen fastest lap back.
Interesting. Interesting. Romeo's on the back of Fat Bloke, so Fat Bloke's got ahead of Romeo. More points for Team FBR.
Oh my God, Max, Jesus. He's right on the rear wing of Tucker, bouncing all over the curb. He is trying to go round the outside. I think that was a slight tap and he's lost the rear a little bit. Max, though, gets better grip and better exit than Tucker. He's on the inside, but Tucker would carry the momentum much better and closes off Max Mulder. And both of these two having a great race at the minute, but Tucker probably defended the strongest driver in Pro-Am at the minute, and he's doing a fabulous job of doing it.
He is doing so, and that's probably the best thing for Max Mulder there, to not get past Tucker when he did, because he was definite tap up the rear. And if that would have got into the steward's room, I reckon that would have been a bit of a push to pass kind of manoeuvre. But Max Mulder stays behind. He's got to now try and go at it again. Remember the last time he was this close to a driver? That was Kieran Argent, final corner of Hungaroring. Into the wall went Kieran. He's just got a little too close. He's got very close now, pulls right that inside line, all over the marbles. Mark Tucker, though, has a better straight line advantage over Max Mulder. Holds his line down in towards turn 1. Going to make it a little tight for himself. Max tries to brake earlier and tuck underneath. Max gets a better exit, but that doesn't mean anything close so far. He's too close, been up to the S's. He's on the inside, then the outside. Max is looking each way to Sunday. There's probably, I tell you what, Dan, this could end up in tears.
Or it could end up in brilliant driving from the pair of them, but Max just not able to find a way through. And Dean's catching them in the background. Dean is flying along behind them. It's a shame that Gomez is too far behind, because he would have been in this fight. And Max has turned the lights on.
No, John Andrews! Oh, he's done it again!
Who's he hit? He's hit Dennis Hansen.
He's rolled back into the path of Hansen, and Sam's got through. Now Richie Michel's going to get past.
Oh my God.
He's got to put it on the brakes. Sam gets through. Tucker's bouncing all over the curb. That could really help John Goodey to maybe get a podium. Max to the outside of Toe again. I think because of Max's damage, Dan, and maybe his tyre's been a little too hot, he's flashing Tucker, but I think Tucker's got the better straight line speed and better traction out the corner. Tucker can afford to be slower through the corner because he's just pulling out of it better than Max Mulder at the moment.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Sam has now got to defend from Richie Michel. Dennis Hansen has got a ruined front end on that McLaren. That is awful. And John Goodey, I reckon John will be on the back of him by the end of this race. There is a yellow flag. Cranky Duckhead's back into the pits. John Andrews back into the pits. Senna still in the pits. Borough Bex. That's possibly a retirement for Borough Bex in this race. I know he's had a lot of damage. Possibly that he's repaired. He'll only need to come back out on track to finish this one. But look, Max gets closer under braking. Closer mid-corner. Then on the exit as he clatters turn 1 and off he goes. And nearly goes into the wall. That's probably going to put to bed this battle.
Yeah, that definitely was not an advantage right there. That was definitely a loss, if anything. Once again, John Andrews causing chaos here, and Richie Michelle is on the rear wing of Sam, who's got damage. Dennis Hansen is trying to survive, but I think he might just be able to do it. Depends how much damage. It looks horrendous, actually. I don't know. John Goudet is catching him.
Sam's just lapped. Quickly? Sorry, Dan. Sam's just lapped Argent. Argent's bonnet's lifted again. he's had a terrible night as Argent.
Yeah, he's not had the best night, but either way, he's going to be happy to see the end of Watkins. I'm thinking that actually the Ford should have been quite strong around here.
It's gone dark.
It's gone very dark.
Clouds are rolling in.
Coming, but it's 10 minutes still to the rain.
Oh yeah, the rain's not going to hit.
John Goudet is in the final corner just as Hansen exits the final corner.
Argent is now.
Anything happened to Richie Michelle or Sam? Anything happened between these two?
And John Goudet's strategy was an absolute master plan. What a guy!
No. No.
Oh,
I still think
just
the
hit a
slick tire was
Pirelli
still
board.
stupid.
I don't know if that's going to affect his car too much. Probably not. It's bounced the Pirelli board right out of the way. John's 5 seconds off the back of Dennis Hansen. Max is 1 second behind Mark Tucker. Now, if Dennis Hansen... Tim, for the championship, will want Dennis to finish ahead of Max for that championship. You know, Max, he won't want Max to get 7th place. If he does, you know, that's, 35 points or 25 points he's gained over Max. Whatever, but yeah, Sam trying to hang on for a podium. Dennis Hansen now has got 3 seconds to John. Dennis just trying to get to the end. There will be 1 lap left, maybe 2, you know.
There's Hansen. There is Hansen now, as Tim Venting will. Well, yes, there will be 2 laps.
It just depends on how much Tim backs off this lap.
I mean, what's the gap? It's monstrous.
Oh, it's so comfortable.
Yeah, he could literally just
46 yellow flag. That is
Argent.
Yeah, we'll go back to Richie Michelle. He's had too many offs to report tonight as Kieran Argent.
Dennis Hansen bouncing over the curb, and there goes John Goudet up into 4th place.
Yeah, inevitable, wasn't it? Max Mulder back within a second of Mark Tucker. Oh, he was. I think Max has had another off.
He's got damage.
Yeah, I think he's had another off. So Max Mulder here with 2 laps to go. He's about to get lapped by Tim. He's about to get lapped by Tim. Where's Gomez? Gomez at the bus stop, so that's not going to happen unless Max stacks it even more and Tim decides to go, you know what, let's have another lap. But I doubt that one's going to happen. Richie Michelle within 6 tenths.
You know Tim's probably sitting there thinking, I want to put a lap on my teammate.
100%. It's a statement. It's a statement.
Yeah, a clear statement. Like I'm home. And Dennis Hansen pits.
Oh, Dennis. He'd have had 1 lap to go to hang on to it. He'd have had 1 lap to go. That's going to give Max another place. Well, what a shame for Dennis Hansen. Brian Craig, P5 though at the minute. That's going to be a good one for him. Kieran Argent's keeping going. What is Tim going to do though? Is this going to be the final lap? Stop.
It's not funny, Mathew.
He's had a rough night. If he doesn't laugh, he'll cry. Oh, Dennis Hansen. I tell you what, it's going dark, Dan. It's just gone even darker.
Yeah, it's not going to rain.
Is Tim going to back off?
No.
No. Tim's on the final lap of this race. Tim's on the final lap. Max, do not have any more. Oh my God, he's wide again. Could you imagine a drive-through comes up now for Max Mulder? That'll be 30 seconds added to his time at the end of the race.
He's on the marbles. Imagine if these two come together now.
Oh, don't.
I mean, Sam's nowhere, so Tim could probably, have contact with Max, do a couple of donuts, and carry on going again, and Sam wouldn't threat. But
Winter's
this
on the
has
back
been a
of,
fantastic drive from Sam.
Oh, massively.
Oh my God, there's cars. Max has dropped it. Max has been lapped.
Off. That's fat bloke off. Max has been lapped. Oh my God, Max is still off.
Big time.
Max is still off.
Gomez and Justin Winter are coming up to the loop.
Justin Winter's coming up to the loop. Gomez has got massive front end damage. Max is back going again. And Justin Winter up the inside. No, he's bounced across. He's lost the rear. Well held from Justin Winter. Dennis Hansen still in the pits. You cannot script this kind of stuff at the minute. Fat bloke might gain another place over Dennis Hansen. Probably not, because Tim Ventic's just lapped him. There's Argent just circulating with a stop-go penalty. He'll take that 30 seconds probably at the end of the race. He's not going to come in to do the stop-go. Driver of the day is an interesting one. I'm looking at your chat. Sam's the only one who's got a vote. What's Tim doing here? Well, Argent's now stopped behind Tim.
Is he letting Max through?
I don't really see the point. I think they're going for a photo finish. Max is way behind Mark Tucker now. It's not going to matter, is it? This is for a photo finish. Photo finish for then the BSP team in what has been not their best outing, to say the least. But it's going to be Tim Venting to come across and take yet another race win this season in great style. No fastest lap for him though. Max Mulder finishes the race down in 7th place. It's points back for him, but not points.
Oh, Gomez and Justin still going at it. And Gomez hits the wall, but not quite enough there for Justin Gomez there. He'll finish in 9th, and Winter takes the fastest lap. But Sam, what a drive from this man. Brilliant from him.
Huge drive from this man. Huge drive from this man. Absolutely fantastic for him in this race. He's had a best of 5th. He's going to come across the line for 2nd. Not sure where Richie Michelle dropped off at the end, but 2nd place for Sam across the line. We'll have to jump in the other chat on the Discord for that one. We'll get that one sorted momentarily. 3rd place for Richie Michelle. John Goody, he's a little bit further back. He's not miles back, you know. To be fair, a couple more laps and John, I reckon, would have been on the back. 4th place, so great strategy from John Goody in this race. Huge gap then back to Brian Craig, who's going to take 6th place, it looks like, ahead of his teammate Mark Tucker. DJ Phil, he's 11th. Dennis Hansen didn't finish his race but was still in the pits, doing a pit stop in 12th. Here comes Brian Craig for that P5. Great result for Brian Craig as well, P5. P6 for his teammate Mark Tucker, who's coming through now. Borough Becks, that'll be 20th, but it'll possibly be a retirement due to not finishing the race. Bell finished down the order. He finished 13th. No, they won't, because drivers have left the lobby, so we're going to have to work that out at the end of the night. But one thing we can say, Mark Tucker comes across for P6. Who are we waiting on?
It's Dennis Hansen. He's in the pits, but he hasn't got going again. But he still finished 12th after all of that. But,
right. So while we do that, let's jump into the Discord box. I'll swap my microphones around and we will join you in there. So then we are into the commentary box here for you all in what has been a great night. We can now get that final result updated, so we'll be able to just do that. I am going to take a quick screenshot of that to make sure we get the full final classified result. But what a night's worth of racing. It's been action-packed and plenty of drama. Just want to make sure I've got Dan unmuted. Yes, I have. Dan, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Dan, we've got Sam in the comms box. Why don't you take us off with an interview with Sam?
Sure. Sam, obviously a night full of drama and chaos, and you're the man who managed to escape it all. Tell me about the strategy, and was it helpful having Pete Williams as your race engineer?
Yeah, it did help a little bit towards the end. Just keeping me updated on what was going on around me. I quite like the mixed conditions, to be fair. They're usually good races for me. I don't have the ultimate pace that most of the drivers have got. But I'm pretty good on strategy. I know what I'm doing. So as soon as I saw that wet, dry race, I knew I was going to have a bit of a chance. And I didn't really put a foot wrong, to be fair, all the way through. Had a little bit of a dodgy first lap, lost a couple of places, just got knocked out wide on the first corner. But apart from that, it was just head down, don't make any mistakes, look after the tyres at the start. I saw a few cars jump in the pits in front of me, and I knew that was going to give me the jump on them. There was no way they was going to make that time up in the 10 minutes before the pit window opened. So, yeah, it worked out quite nice. And then I didn't really expect to catch Dennis. He had a really good pit stop. He gained some time on me. I came out 8 seconds behind, and then I just gently started to reel him in. It was a real shame what happened at the end, to be fair. I think we probably would have had a pretty good race for a couple of laps. He was quick where he needed to be. And you know, the car was good, but not great. I think I probably would have got him. I'm sure he'll disagree with that, but My real concern was if I didn't get it done quickly, Michel would be right behind us. And after the incident, they're exactly where he was, literally right at my backside. And fortunately, the second from last lap, I put in an absolute stonker of a lap with front end damage. I don't know where that lap time came from, but managed to pull a second and a half on Michel in that lap, and I think he just gave up at the end and made it easy for me, which was nice of him. I very much thank him for that.
I think that was your first podium of the season, and it took a while to get there. But was there any point, obviously you've seen a lot of cars pitting in for the slick tyres, was there any point that you thought about it, or was it purely just wets all the way?
No chance. I think if he was going to do it, really the time to have done it would have been probably around the 54-minute mark, to get the maximum out of those slick tyres before you had to come in and make that the proper pit stop. With a tyre change, 30 seconds, plus another 20-odd, running through the pit lane, to go in at kind of 44, 45 minutes when that little group ahead of me, Winter and Max and a few others all dived in together, there was no way they was going to make up 50 seconds over 10 minutes. It just wasn't going to happen. I know they was quicker than me, but I was only kind of 6-7 seconds off of dry race pace at that stage, so they couldn't make that up in the 5 laps that I had before I pitted. So I no danger at all. As soon as they all pitted, I was smiling. I wasn't worried in any way, shape or form. I undernard at kind of 54 minutes, but I thought if I go on slicks now, first few laps are going to be really tough. The tyres are going to be really cold. It's going to take a while to bring them up to temperature. Easier to actually drive on the balloons. The last lap before the pit stop was a difficult one. Tyres were getting up towards the 36s, 37s. They really were balloons. There was a few hairy moments here and there, but it wasn't too bad. You just need to be a little bit sensible. Don't take too many risks. And I saw that all over. There were good drivers that were off left, right, and centre tonight, and that's not what you need. You need a cool head in these kinds of conditions, which is, like I say, generally it's when I do well. I think I had a really good race at Kyalami last year in the wet. And those kinds of conditions suit me. I'm not quick. I'm not the quickest driver by any stretch, but I don't make many mistakes. So when it's hard to race, that's when I do well.
Yeah. Obviously, we move on to the next race of the season, which is Zandvoort, a tight, twisty circuit. How well do you think the Aston Martin's going to do around there?
Yeah, it's not ideal, to be perfectly honest. The Aston is a bit of a boat. It's one of the reasons it does well in the wet. I think it's literally designed for it. It's not a great track. A lot of slow speed corners, which the Aston just bogs down so much. That big old turbo on the car is a real pain. You see it at the start of every race. I get absolutely blitzed by cars all over me at the start of the race. You try and hold the brake to give yourself a bit of a launch, but it's just gutless at low revs. It's a real struggle. The flip side is that at the high speed corners where you can keep the pace up, it pulls out of those corners better than anything else in the sim. So it's not a good track for me next week. But we'll do what we can. We don't know what the weather's going to be like yet. I would imagine it's probably going to be scorching and dry, which won't be ideal. But I'll do what I always do. I'll go out. You saw it in race 1 today. I got absolutely punted at the first corner, along with half the rest of the field. I came out in 19th. Managed to work my way all the way back up to 8th, literally just by not making any mistakes. From there, I came in. I had a minute pit stop at the beginning of the race. Was miles behind. In fact, I had to slow down a little bit to get into the pits just in time to make the pit window spot on.
Yeah.
But you just get your head down, don't make any mistakes, and you see where you end up. Usually, that's somewhere around the top 10. And occasionally on a day like today, that's a podium, which is very nice to get when you get one.
Ideal, and that's a fantastic drive from yourself, and it has been reflected in the votes as well for driver of the day. If you've won driver of the day, so congratulations on that one. Yes, you have.
Fantastic! I'm looking forward to watching the stream. I watch it every week religiously, even the weeks that I can't race. I'm a big fan of the product that you guys put together. It's a fantastic watch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that tonight. And then if I'm feeling really desperate, I might watch my own stream again just to see how good I was.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the podium tonight and driver of the day.
Thank you, much appreciated.
And we now got. I'll have a quick chat with John Goudet. He's joined us in the chat. John, a bit of a weird night for yourself. Obviously, once again, we're at an American circuit, and you're strong again. Both you and Justin Winter very strong. Do you regret going onto the slick tyre now?
No, not really. To be fair, the car felt great on both. To be fair, I mean, I was always knew I weren't going to be as quick as what like Romeo and all that. So I mean, like they were out of the picture for me. Yes, okay, I might have probably done the wrong choice, but to be fair, I'm happy with where I was in that second race. So, yeah, I mean, again, every American track, I love Watkins Glen, and I love like a lot of the tracks that I have done well on. But it's something about the tracks that I keep saying that I'm not that great on, and I do well on them. So,
yeah. Race 1 seemed a very good one. You gained a lot of points on your championship contenders and also in the constructors as well. So that fight is really going to the BSP boys. You and Justin looking like you had the pace tonight. Was there anything else you could have done tonight, or was it just damage limitation in the championship?
No, so race 1, I truly think that race 1 I could have got better than what I did. I think I could have got first, but I had damage. I picked up a bit of damage from Fat Bloke came out the pits and he bounced at the bus stop. He held his brakes, like obviously what we say to do, but I just locked up and just went straight into the front of him. So yeah, I ended up picking up a bit of damage. I think it was something like about 10 seconds worth of damage, which then hindered the top end speed for me. I mean, I don't know what was going on with Max this week. He struggled this week. For me to catch him like I was in both races, I was closing up at a fast rate. Second race, like I said, I might have done the wrong strategy. We don't know. It's gone now. I was tempted to stay out a little bit longer. I think that probably hindered me a little bit. I should have just stayed out a fraction longer from when I went into the pits. But yeah, it's a good night all round. For like you said, both me and Winter. Winter was really weak coming into the race. He weren't that confident. So I was just trying to, obviously being on mic with him, I was just trying to calm him down, just try and keep him consistent. And yeah, first race we managed to do it. Second race he got into a little bit of an issue, but yeah, we both picked up some good points this week. I'm quite happy about it, to be fair. So
yeah, you definitely brought the points down a little bit to the leaders. We then go to Zandvoort, the next circuit. Again, same question. Aston Martin. Sam says it's going to be a bit of a handful. What do you think it's going to be like?
So I've done Zandvoort on some open lobbies. I think I've got a setup that feels fairly decent around there, but again, it's not really one of the tracks that I like. But this is coming a bit of a norm. I feel like I'm mimicking someone else. You know what I mean? Like tracks that I don't feel like I'm going to be doing well on, I end up doing well on. Like I said it at Indianapolis, that was one of the main ones. Indianapolis I was struggling with really bad, but ended up getting decent points from that. So yeah, we'll see. I'm literally just taking each race as it comes. I don't think I'm on the standard of Max and Tim on their day. I don't think I'm on their standard. But anything from P3 down, I think that I'm on relatively same par with. So yeah, like I said, the main thing what I'm trying to do is just stay out of trouble. And try and just pick up as decent points as I can. If not for the drivers, more for the constructors. You know, I want to try and get that constructors again this season. Obviously, through getting it from last season, it'll be good to do a back-to-back constructors. But yeah, again, just taking each race as it comes. I just try not to look too far ahead.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on tonight's racing, on the podium in the first race, and we'll see you at Zandvoort.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers, guys. Well done on the winners as well.
And we finally get to Tim Ventink, and Tim, it started off a bit of a crazy start to the night. Race 1 didn't really go to plan, but you dragged it back, you scored some decent points, and then race 1, it pretty much went smooth sailing, even though the conditions were against your side. How was it for you tonight? It seemed a lot to handle this evening.
Yeah, race 1, the incident was out of my hand. Not really sure what happened, but I know for a fact it's not my fault. Yeah, just damage limitations. P5 was the best I could do with the 20 minutes on the clock. Yeah, the pace was really good. Qualifying was gonna have pole, but the final lap was better for the dries, so that's where I lost out. And yeah, race 2, yeah, it speaks for itself, I think.
I'm not sure if we've just lost Tim there. Hello?
Oh, hello?
I think we got you now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, race 2, I mean, I would have won with 50 seconds, but waited on max for a bit, so 38 seconds it was. But yeah, pace was insane.
Again, a question to you: were you tempted by the slicks, or just sticking to the wets to put the window open?
No, I was sticking to the wets. But yeah, when it was dry enough already, but yeah, I wasn't going to take any risks, and just drove it out.
Well, next time out we head to Zandvoort. I believe it's your home race.
Yep.
How are you feeling about Zandvoort? Is it a track that you like, and do you think the Ferrari is going to go well around there?
Yes, I think I'm going to do well. I like the track. I know the track. It's a small track, so backmarkers, yeah, could be a thing again. But I just gonna have to be careful and try my best.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the win tonight, and also gaining on your teammate as well. So congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
And that is your podium runners for this evening. It's been a great night's worth of racing, and I am back with Mathew, Duffin, and it seems like relatively happy drivers this evening.
Yeah, relatively happy drivers, and one man who can be a little happier will be that of Max Mulder. While you were doing the interviews there, I was just able to go through the drop scores, and Max Mulder's drop score was actually tonight, so he gains up to 89 points now is the gap between himself and Tim Ventink in this race. John Gooday does move into third. He's 123.5 points behind. 339 left to play with. You really feel this is becoming a two-horse race. Diz, 10 points behind John Gooday. Richie Michel is about 40 points behind Diz as well, so he's still in this. Justin Winter looking for that top 5 and possible promotion spots. He's currently P6. Brian Craig P7 with Borough Becks in P8. Sam moves into the top 9 with Robert Smith 11th. Hansen goes P11. Robert Smith 10th. Hansen goes 11th. P. Williams, because of his drop score, moves up into 12th. Argent stays 13th. Tucker just behind him now. Diego Flores P15 ahead of Bell, with Senna down in 17th. DJ Phil 18th. Naval Gomez P19, Fat Bloke up to 20th, Cranky Duckhead 21st, Dean 22nd with Michael 23rd, Mirko 24th, then it's John Andrews 25th, Graham from Romeo, Lund, the Jackal, Dean Wasocki, Nuke Waste, Andrew Taylor and MB Pitts. And in the Constructors' Championship, BSP 257 points clear. They are 300. They are near enough. It won't be next week. It could be though at Zolder where they could win that Constructors' Championship. It all depends on what happens next week, whether it'll be at Zolder or at Valencia. Richie Corsa though a third, Team Merlo P4, good night for them. Stage 2 Motorsport to P5, but Team FBR and FSO Juniors are out of the running. Retroactive Racing with only one driver tonight was already out of it. Kieran Argent somehow in the independent standings for Forever Forward Racing keeps hold of P9. Vorta Racing goes P10, Cool Shop Racing go to 11th, the Greasy Bandit Jr. Gain in P12. Been a cracking night, Dan, though, hasn't it? It's been a real interesting night for all the drivers on this circuit. The weather's played a factor, incidents played a factor. and we get to do it all tomorrow night, except you're out there on the circuit.
Yeah, I hope there's not as much drama for the pros, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting on track tomorrow night. Definitely a circuit that I tend to enjoy as well, so we'll see how that goes. I think the Lambo's relatively good round here as well, so but I know those McLaren boys of Clouden and Overtaker, and especially Michael Eckel, will definitely be there on the pace, but who knows, all the drama is going to come tomorrow night, and I believe it's going to be seething hot as well. So we go from dramatic racing in the wet to possibly tyres overheating in pro. But going back to driver of the day, Matt, for me, it's got to go the way of Sam. Brilliant drive from him in his first podium this season.
Yeah,
Fantastic
Sam as well
job
for
from
me.
him.
Clean sweep for him in the commentator's box and in the audience. Honourable mentions though, Justin Winter, Tim Venting race 2, Romeo, good shout out for him because of race 1, John Gooday as well. I think they've all had fantastic nights. Yeah, but Sam has driven his heart out tonight. He's really left nothing out there. Brian Craig and Tucker, good shout out for them as well. They've had a cracking night of racing. And it doesn't stop there. We've got 3 weeks left of these GT3s in Pro-Am, and we head to Zandvoort next. We go to Holland. The Orange Army will be out in force for Max Mulder and Tim Venting, who will be trying to lead the way at Zandvoort before we head to Zolder in Belgium, not far away, and then we head to Valencia in Spain to end the season in what has been a fantastic Pro-Am year. And Dan, like we said, it's been a great year, and we're coming into that final 3 races now.
It is indeed, and probably the 3 most difficult circuits yet to come, the tightest and probably the most difficult, a circuit that probably none of these guys have ever driven, and a motorbike circuit of that, so feels like Bruno kind of vibes from Project Cars days heading to Valencia, but who knows what's going to happen. Either way, it looks like it's going Dutch for Pro-Am. John Goudet, a outside chance, but it looks like it's going to be down to the BSP boys who is going to come out on top, and it's going to be the same for the pros, who is going to be on top as we go into this tricky end of the championship. And so for the GT4s as well, they've got some hard racing yet to go as well, and we'll see how they get on in the tight twisty circuits of Zolder and Zandvoort. But that's it for Pro-Am tonight. It's been a fantastic night's worth of racing, Matt.
It has been a fantastic night's worth of racing. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button and the bell to be notified. Hit the big red subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Fast approaching 750 subscribers. Thank you all in the comments, and thank you all in the chat who tune in and week out. Couldn't do it without you guys. Me and PM Motorsport will be back live tomorrow 8 PM GMT +1 for the pros at Watkins Glen. Dan Davis will be back in the box for Zandvoort 8 PM GMT +1 for Zandvoort GT4s. Me and Dan will be back though in a week's time 8 PM GMT +1. And what a night in Watkins Glen, the 4th and final time in America. We'll see you next time though in Holland. Good night.
Good night.